Shotgun, shotgun. Okay, I think we are good. And let me just double check here. We should be live.
Mic check.
Yep, I can hear you, sir. Let's see, where is my YouTube? And then I'm gonna go to my studio. And in my studio, hit content, live, and bam! Oh yeah. Now I'm feeling real good about myself. Let me just double check to make sure that this is correct. Yep. Where's the channel? There we go. There's the channel there. Oh yeah. Yes, sir. I've done it. I have done it. Okay. Now let me make sure that this is good. That's good. I got all my shit on. And I think it's something doing with my camera settings, but I think that's just minor stuff. That's good. Yeah, man. I'm good. We are looking good, my good man. Touch up my appearance. Is that what that's doing? Strong. I don't need to touch my appearance like that. Yeah, just subtle. That's good. Yeah. Okay. All right. You ready, good sir?
I am.
All right. Let me make sure that you are coming through loud and clear. You guys let me know in the chat if you can hear me and Mr. Keyblade. Go ahead and say something.
Mic check. Are we good to go?
All right. I'm going to just check over here just to double check. To check in my check. In my check.
Are we good to go?
I think we are, sir. We can hear both. There we go. So we were right with the testing and we're good. All right. So let's go
Sweet.
ahead. Let's get it started. Good evening, everybody. My name is, of course, Brian Redmond, and this is the Relationship Rehab. We are streaming on the Relationship Rehab. We are streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on the Relationship Rehab on Rumble. And we are now streaming on Twitter at Relate Better. So I'm trying to expand my space a little bit. And what better way to expand my space than on Twitter space, huh? How about that? There we go. Let me make sure it's good. Yeah, nope, I need to change that. Let me update this. And yep. Next. And let's change that to this guy. Yeah. Oh. Uh-huh. I'm excited. It feels good, man, when you get some stuff working. It feels good. This is all right. Yes, sir. I'm excited. You
As
gotta
am
forgive me,
I.
man, because this is actually gonna change the way I do streams, and it's gonna allow me to do some other things better. And I'm excited about that. All right, there we go. And yes, all right, that's good, and that's good. And we are
Mhm.
live. Oh yeah, it looked good too. Okay.
Yep.
All right, my
Good.
friend, I am going to go ahead and introduce you, and I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself. Um, what we're gonna do tonight. Hey man, thank you for the donation. And first and foremost, happy Mother's Day to all of the wonderful mothers out there. Yes, indeed. Oh, there's my auntie in there. Hey, Connie. But yes, I wanted to just give a shout out to all of the mothers out there. My mother, absolutely the greatest mother in the world, and just everybody else out there whose mamas are here, who mama may not be here. Happy Mother's Day to you all. With that being said, this has been a conversation that has been in the making to have for quite some time. And I must accept responsibility for this conversation not taking place sooner because I simply kept forgetting about it. That's just what it was. But now we are here. We are able to have this conversation. And it was about a story that I did a while ago about a pretty much a police stop. And the police stop went left, of course. And not only did my man Mr. Keyblade, who was in the show with me, but a few other people had some thoughts about it too. So this is definitely what I have envisioned my platform to be about. It is about having conversation, having dialogue, and I am definitely honored to have my guest on today to do the very thing that I wanted this platform to be available to do. And that is to have conversations, and that is for us to get better understanding and to just relate better. So with that being said, I want Mr. Keyblade to please introduce yourself, and then we will go ahead and get into it. So tell us a little bit about yourself, good sir. The floor is yours.
Well, thank you, sir, for that intro. How you doing this evening? I go
I'm
by
doing
KJ
great, man.
Kazama. Kazama's Keyblade. Look, that's just my gamer tag. I've been playing a lot of Tekken recently. Actually, I just did a tourney this weekend, and actually
wow.
fought against Speed Kicks. He's a really world-renowned professional Tekken player. But among other things, I myself, considering we're talking about Lieutenant Nazario, I'm actually a lieutenant in the armed forces myself. Graduated from the United States Air Force Academy class of 2021. I was a legal studies major with a minor in philosophy. And actually, the very day that you were doing this stream, I was actually doing my homework, doing my legal studies, the homework. This is like
Really?
what, 4 years ago? Yes, I was. And
Really?
since I done made that the point, let me just clearly spell out, elucidate that although I may be a service member, that the views, comments, gifts, likes, comments, opinions, anything that's posted here is not an endorsement by the DoD or the Air Force at large. This is just one man who just so happens to be in the Air Force giving an opinion on something.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so for those of you who don't know or who may not have seen this particular video, I did want to show it just so that people can see what it is that we're talking about and what we're debating. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up right now. Let's see here if I do this right. If I hit that and I hit video file, yep, that's right. And I'm gonna go ahead and find the video, and I think that is, oh nope, that's my old show. And is that it? I think that is it. I don't want to mess up and get, nope, let me make it bigger so I can see, because my thumbnails are small. So there we go. I think that is it. Nope, that's not. I almost put up the wrong video. Ha! All right, let me go down
Is
a
it the
little bit
audit
further.
video, or is it the body cam itself?
I think it's I think it may be the audit video.
Yeah.
Or it could be one. Let me see here, because I think I have that one too. Where are you? Nope. Yeah, let me search it, because then that way I'll have the exact thing, because I don't want to pull up the wrong thing in this. So let me go here and let's go to this guy, and then we'll type in NAZ. All right. Is that it?
And you mind if I explain it like right before you hit the?
Absolutely. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes. So the video that I presented was an update to the Lieutenant Nazario body cam footage. This is about 8 months ago. They released a video that was detailing an audit, among other YouTube channels that I watch. I cater my content, or the content that I listen to, around a lot of two-way stuff, or around a lot of police tactics. I watch a lot of you and active self-protection. Dominic Izzo, just a lot of people that talk about policing, police tactics, law enforcement, things of that nature. And audit, what essentially they do is they take the body cam footage. The person will give his commentary on what he believes is the right or wrong, but then he will also assess how things went out in court, whether it was a civil case or a criminal case. what happened at the Supreme Court level, and not the Supreme Court of the United States. I mean, the Supreme Court being the circuit court of whatever state, county, district that was in. If it went to the Court of Appeals, and he will essentially break down why certain decisions were made and explain, the precedent behind it. And what happened in this instance is Lieutenant Nazario actually filed a lawsuit, and in some cases the court filed in his favor. In some cases they did not file in his favor. And I kind of want to do not just a breakdown of the tactics or the right and the wrong of what happened in the stop, but just also what happens afterward, because for the good times where someone does get to go home, you said it all the time, there are two things that you're always dealing with, and really three if you think about it: your liberty and your life, and in this case also his property. So I want to go into the discussion about how those different aspects are impacted by the situation.
What was the date? When did that occur?
The stop or the video?
The stop, because I don't see it in my and I'm looking by date, and I thought it was around this time, but if not,
I believe it was
a little further back.
I believe it was around December.
Let me see.
And if not, I can actually post it. Yeah, I can just post it in the
let's do that. Just yes, I was gonna say send it to me just so I can make sure I have it, because I thought I downloaded everything, but apparently I don't see it.
The link should be going in the StreamYard right now.
Somewhere else. Let's see, private chat. Let's close that, because I thought I had it when you sent it to me. Yeah, you sent it to me the first time, and I thought that I did. Is it that one right here that says, I think this is it. Audit the audit. That's the one. Is that the actual? No, let me see the original one.
Oh, the original?
This one is, this one is like 20 minutes, and it stops. The audit dude is stopping different stuff in there. So I want to see the original one just so we can show that one.
So the original one is on police activity, and I'm pulling it up right now. Hold on.
Yep. All right. Yeah, I know that I just don't remember where I actually saved it at.
And sometimes police activity will actually they'll lose some of their content. I watch a lot of police activity.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
But I've got my Bacardi. I've got my notes.
I got my Bacardi. Got my notes. My man is ready. That's what I'm talking about.
Look, I almost finished it from when I watched. You keep up with boxing at all?
I watch it a little bit. I don't really like follow it. I'll catch the fights, but I don't really.
The month of May is the month of boxing for me.
Yeah,
I watched Kambosos. If Kambosos had lasted 10 more seconds, I'd have been an honest man, because I said that fight was going to go to distance, but Lomachenko knocked him out. So
it didn't, huh?
Yeah, it didn't. I predicted the Canelo fight. I predicted the Tank fight. I guess I missed that one.
When do Mike Tyson and whatchamacallit fight?
Tyson v. Paul. That's got to be late June. Yeah, late June.
Man, I'm
telling you.
For
some reason it said it's going to be streaming on Netflix. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. I'll be honest with you.
I'm telling you, I am literally just hoping that Mike Tyson gets to have a George Foreman moment, like when he fought Michael Moore. I really am. And the only reason why I say that is because I'm not a fan of people. I think my problem with the Pauls, even though I know they're like big YouTube sensations, I think that they kind of make a little bit of a mockery of the sport. Yes. Yeah. And they play around with it. And not to say that they can't box or anything like that, but I'm saying they make a mockery of it because they try to make it seem like they're really good fighters and they don't really fight anybody. And it's like, like that other fight, that when I saw that fight where that dude literally like took a dive with that phantom punch thing or whatever, I was just like, man, come on, man. It's just
hard to determine. So my opinion on the Pauls is I think they have the chops to be great fighters. I really think they do. But especially when coming from YouTube or Vine or whatever it is you came from, You can't come into a new sport, especially one like boxing, where people have lost their lives in the ring. Like another fighter that I've been following lately, Subriel Matias, he fought somebody, and that man did not make it home that night.
See,
and you know, I don't think you can come into a sport like that and just saying, I want to fight Mayweather, I want to fight Ryan, I want to fight so and so, and then fight a bunch of people that do. And you know, me and my family, we talk about this because I have a little bit of boxing experience myself. You know, boxers, they master the sweet science. They really do.
Yes.
And people will say, oh, you know, boxing's not MMA, you know, you can't do it in a street fight. But I'm like, if you get a seasoned boxer like Tommy Fury, who had his merry way with Jake Paul in their 8-round bout, you know, you get someone that trains to do that. It's not something that you can just wake up and do.
Yeah.
But I do think that they can train and they can be very effective. Now, they're great marketers because essentially they're personalities. And that's what I think boxing has become more.
I'm even okay with that. I'm even okay with that. You guys want to, you know, you making your way on YouTube, because I do think it's a lot of BS and a lot of politics in boxing. You know, you got to be with the right camp, and you got to have the right connections. It's not always about just the best fighter. So I get the fact that, and I'm glad that they have that lane to where they can get into it that way, because it should be, hey, you know, let the best boxer get the shot at the title, whatever. It's not that you got to pay your dues and all that. If I beat these guys and I get to go up through the ranks, give me my shot. Fine. But I think that they kind of haven't done that part. So I think that's like, to me, the thing that's like, you know, I don't know. But I'm really hoping the fact that he had the gall to challenge Mike Tyson like that, I get it. I probably, if I was in his situation, for the notoriety and the pay and all that kind of stuff, the excitement around it, I get that, but have some respect.
Have some respect for the house that you in.
He's too much of an accomplished boxer to just think, oh yeah, I could just get a shot at a guy like that, even though he's old now. But I really hope that Jake Paul does a Michael Moore and gets caught slipping. I really do. And not just necessarily even get knocked out. I just want Mike to hurt him one good time. Show him, boy, this ain't for play. That's the only thing that I really want him to get out of this, is just a different level of respect for people that he's challenging. Because it's like, dude, you just don't challenge somebody like Mike Tyson, and you do it just because you old. Because he's old, and you think, yeah, I can get him. That's my thing. And it's like, dude, you need to respect the game. But I think I got it now. Let me go ahead and try to pull this up. But yeah, I hope he can catch him one good time. And
it's not going to be like when he fought Roy, because I saw that fight and he did that post-fight interview and he said, if you think I was going to do this fight without something in my system, you crazy. I was like, let him have it.
Hey, and he even gave it up to Roy. He was like, Roy, you took that shit. He was like, I got a whole nother level of respect for you, man. You took that shit. And I was like, you did.
Question for you though, if you get a second, how you want to play this? You want to?
So I just essentially just want to get to the part to where we go through just kind of like the basics of the stop. That's it, and then we can just so the people can see, and then we can go from there and we can go through our points of views, and if we need to reference this again, we can.
Cool, because I got my timeline. I had the the timestamps of everything. So I have it
cool.
Minute by minute, but we can let it rock.
Yeah, just essentially, people, here's what's happening. So this police officer is making a routine stop. The guy he basically hit his lights a while back, and this guy pulls in to the gas station. So he didn't pull over immediately. All right. So he's now making the stop here, and this is what you're seeing on the body cam, and we'll go from there.
Yep.
Put your hands out the window. He's not complying, Jeff.
Come around your side.
Let me see your hands. How many occupants are in the vehicle?
What's going on?
How many occupants are in your vehicle?
It's only myself. Why are your weapons drawn? What's going on?
Open the door slowly and step out. Open the door.
I'm not getting out the vehicle. What's going on?
Get out the car. Open the door slowly and get out.
What's going on?
Get out of the car now.
Open the door and get out the car.
Hold still. Hold. Keep your hands outside the window. Keep your hands outside the window.
My hands are right here. What's going on?
Get out of the car now.
Get out of the car!
What's
now.
going on?
Get out of the car now. Get out of the car now.
I'm serving this country and this is how I'm treated?
Yo, what? Guess what? I'm a veteran too. I don't know, babe.
That's
Get
not-
out of the car.
What's going on?
Get out of the car now.
What's going on?
What's going on? You're fixing to ride the lightning, son.
I'm sorry, what?
Get out of the car now.
What's going
Get
on?
out of the car now. Get out of the car.
Sir, just get out of the car. Work with us and we'll talk to you. Get out the car.
You received an order. Obey it.
I'm honestly afraid to get out. Can I?
Yeah, you
ask
should be.
what's
Get out.
What's
Get
going
out.
on? What
Get
did
out
I
the
do?
car.
Get out now.
I have not committed any crimes
You're being stopped for a traffic violation. You're not cooperating at this point right now. You're under arrest
For a traffic-
You're being detained. Okay, you're being detained for
for a
obstruction of justice.
traffic violation. I do not have to get out the vehicle. You haven't even told
Really?
me why I'm being stopped.
Really?
Get your hands.
Get out of the car now. Get out of the car.
Get your hands off me,
Get out of
please.
the-
Get your hands off me.
You know what?
Get your hands off me.
Not
Get
a
your
problem.
hands off me.
Back up,
I
Daniel.
didn't do anything. Don't do that.
Sir,
Get out of the car
Don't do
now.
that.
Hey, sir,
Get out of the
do
car
that.
now.
Don't do.
look,
I'm trying to talk
get out.
to you.
Okay.
I'm trying to
I'm gonna
talk.
talk to you.
Get out.
Just get out of my
Relax.
car.
Can you please
Get out.
relax? Can
Get
you
out.
please relax?
Get out of the car right now.
This
Now.
is not how you treat a vet. I'm actively serving this country, and this is how you're gonna treat me.
Back up, Daniel.
I didn't do
Back
anything.
up.
Whoa, hold on.
Hey,
What's going? Hold on. Watch it.
Air 4 OCs deployed. Get out of the car. Get out of the car now.
That's fucked up. That's fucked
Get out of
up.
the car now.
Sir, just get out of the car.
I'm trying to breathe. Ugh,
Get out of the car now.
that's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Get out of the car and get on the ground now. You're gonna get it again.
I don't even want to reach my seatbelt. Can you
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car.
please?
Get out of the car now. Listen. Take off your seatbelt and get out of the car.
Look, I'm just gonna please.
You're gonna do what you're told. Get out of the car.
Look,
Take your seatbelt off and get out of the
Look.
Take your seatbelt off.
look, my hands are out.
Take your seatbelt off and get out
My
of the car.
hands are out.
Don't reach in there, Daniel. Don't reach in there.
My hands are out. Please. Please, look. This is really messed up. My dog is in the back. My dog is choking right
Get
now.
out of the car. Take your seatbelt off. What are you, a specialist? Corporal, what are you?
I'm a lieutenant.
Lieutenant, get out of the car. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. You made this way more difficult than it had to be if you just complied. Get out of the car.
I'm reaching for my seatbelt.
Fine. Take your seatbelt off and get out of the car. Straight onto the ground. Straight onto the ground.
Ma'am.
Is your commanding officer
Down.
available?
Let's go.
Is your commanding
Let's
officer
go.
available?
Get on the ground. Get on the
Can you
ground.
please talk to
Get
me
on the
about what's
ground
going
now.
on?
Get on the ground or you're getting sprayed again. Get on the ground.
Can you please talk to me about what's
Get
going
on the ground.
on?
Get on the ground now.
Can you please talk to me
Get on
about
the
what's
ground.
going
Get on
on?
the ground.
Right there.
Please talk to me about what's
Yes, sir.
going on.
You're not.
Can you please talk to me about what's going on? Why am I being treated like this? Why?
You're not cooperating. Get on the ground.
Why am I being treated like this? This is really messed up. This is really messed up.
Sir, well, just work
This
with
is
me.
really, this is fucked up.
Sir,
This is fucked up.
Sir.
This is fucked
Sir.
up. You know this is fucked
lay down.
up.
Lay on the ground. Just
You
lay
know
flat.
this is fucked
Lay
up.
flat for me, sir.
You know this is fucked up.
Sir, lay flat. Lay flat.
This is fucked up. I can't fucking believe I'm being treated like this. And I'm fucking
Get on the ground.
wrong.
Get on the ground. Right there. Right there. What's that?
It's gum. What the fuck?
Get on the ground.
It's gum.
Sir, can you just work with us?
Can I
Just work with us. Lay down flat.
hold on?
Lay down flat. Lay down flat.
Sir,
This
lay
is
down.
really
I'm going to tase
fucked
you.
up.
Lay down. You're going
This
to get
is
tased.
fucked up.
Lay down. You're going to get tased.
Fucked up. This
All
is
right, now
fucked up.
put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back.
This is fucked up. This is fucked up.
I agree. All you had to do was listen. All right. Halo 3. One in custody.
This is fucked up. Can you open up the window for my dog? I hear him choking. Can you open up the window, please?
Yes. Yes, we will.
Stand up, okay?
Okay, so he's now in custody.
Yep.
All right. So I'll yield the floor to you with your thoughts.
So the first thing I wanted to clear up was from the very beginning of the video, they initiated a felony traffic stop. So I took the liberty of researching what a felony traffic stop was in the state of Florida. Virginia.
Yeah.
And I actually got it from this Virginia.gov, so it's not like a law dictionary, but it says any person who, having received a visible, and this is in the audit video too, so we can reference that. Any person who receiving a visible or audible signal from a law enforcement officer to bring his motor vehicle to a stop, drives such a motor vehicle in a willful and wanton disregard of such a signal, or who attempts to escape or elude such law enforcement, whether on foot, in vehicle, or by any other means, is guilty of a Class 2 misdemeanor.
Yep.
So, to my understanding, what if? And this is more of a question to you because we're talking Texas too. Would it have been appropriate to initiate a felony stop for him not pulling over? Was it a mile and a quarter mile back?
Yep.
How do you reconcile that?
I mean, outstanding question. So, a felony stop is a tactic. It's a tactical stop. It's a stop that is used for felons that have a record of not just being a felon, but have a record of fighting the police or like extremely armed. I mean, not extremely, but armed and extremely dangerous. Yes. So, like for instance, if you're looking for the California, the dude that was the California sniper dude, the dude that was shooting and killing all those people, and you running around, they knew who he was and they were looking for him. So if they found him in a car instead of out in the woods in that house where they found him at or whatever, they find him in a car, they would perform a felony stop because they know who this guy is. He is perceived to be armed and dangerous, and that's why. And all it is pretty much a stop that you make when you have your gun out and you are giving commands to that person to get out of the vehicle. You usually have them step out with their hands out, unlock the door from the outside. They open the door, they get out. They are not to turn around and face you. They are to put their hands up. They take their fingers, interlock them, put them behind their head, and then they walk backwards to you, and you are commanding them to walk backwards while there are other officers, usually, or at least one other officer that is there to actually put cuffs on him. The big difference is that while he's doing that and he's giving those commands, you have your gun on him, pretty much. At least one officer has a gun on him while they're backing him up to take him into custody. Once that is done, it's like any other regular stop. But you do that in those types of situations. Chris Dorner, thank you, Will. You do those types of stops for, like you said, the people that you know to be extremely, dangerous, or you do a felony stop for someone that is going to that you're perceiving to be a danger to yourself or to someone else. And most people that do those types of things, that are those kinds of people, they usually don't pull over. Now, in context to this is in December of 2020, I believe. So what? George Floyd happened in what? April or May or something like that year. So George Floyd had just taken place. We're in the midst of, Black Lives Matter. I mean, we're full speed ahead between COVID, Black Lives Matter, George Floyd. It's a powder keg. We're doing this. And I get that would be something to cause some people concern. Some people may be scared. My thing would be this. Number one, he's a law enforcement officer. He's a military trained officer. All right. And even though, let's just say he was scared, I'm going to grant him that. Once he pulled over into that well-lit gas station, knowing what he's previously done by not stopping, why would you not comply to the utmost and tell them, hey guys, yep, no problem. I'm doing what you say, getting out. Well, why didn't you stop? Hey man, I was scared. We were on a dark road. I don't know if the road was lit or not, but let's just say it wasn't. We were on a dark road, man. And I was afraid to stop out there in the dark like that. But I'm here now and I'm gonna do whatever you need me to do.
Right. And later on in the video, you'll see that the officer said like that wasn't an issue, but it becomes a little bit confusing because if the officer will then say, well, the issue wasn't that you didn't pull over immediately, because in some cases, in some states, you may be allowed to do that, because it kind of makes sense to drive into a well-lit area like a gas station, because you would think reasonably, you know, if this guy's going to make his final stand, let's say this dude is, you know, Chris Dorn or whatever, if he's going to make his final stand, he's probably going to do it in the dark where no one's going to see anything, then do it at a gas station where there could be gunfire or whatnot. So that makes sense. And the officers even said, that makes sense. I can understand that you decided to pull over in a gas station. Right. But the other confusing thing is, and if you don't mind, could you open up the South Carolina shooting? Because I sent that video as well. Because there's been instances, because the issue that I had in this instance was that it seemed like the two officers were giving conflicting orders. One person was saying, get out of the vehicle, and the other officer was saying, keep your hands where I can see them. And you said it several times, and you know they told us the same thing when we were doing certain aspects of our training. You know, what hurts you? Hands hurts you, especially since that man had a weapon. You know, me being a firearms character, I'm keeping my hands wherever you can see them the whole time. So, and I got a dash cam too, so no one can ever say, "Hey, I think he was going to pull something."
Yep.
So I could sort of see that there was a little bit of confusion there, because if he's saying, "Turn off the vehicle, get out, but keep your hands where I can see him," how do you reconcile doing that with also not being fired upon? As you can see, with the South Carolina shooting with his name was Lavar, was it Thomas? Was it Lavar Jones? That was one. It's like a minute long.
Okay, here's my rebuttal to that.
Yeah,
you can do that, and even if you are, and here's the thing: the reason why there was a mixture of commands, it's because this guy was out of the norm. So now, as a police officer, I'm heightened. This guy is not listening to me. I don't give a damn what he got on, because just because you got on fatigues, you can buy fatigues at a general store. You can buy fatigues anywhere, right? So this guy's in fatigues. So he possibly could be a good guy in military, or he could be a very bad guy that's well trained. I don't know. However, because he is not listening to me, I now believe that, and I've said this plenty of times, when people aren't obeying your commands and they're not listening to you, that means they are plotting something else. They are thinking of something else, whether they're deciding on what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, or if they're going to do it. They are not listening to you because they are buying time. That's just what it is.
Like
and the more, go ahead.
It's like the officer was Darian Jarrett. Is that what his name? Because you showed it later. The one where it was it Las Vegas or Nevada or New Mexico, where he tried to tell the man, I think that was a felony stop too. Well, he didn't perform a felony stop, but he knew that man was a felon. He said, look, I know you got a gun. Let me just retrieve it for my safety. He turned around, and as he turned the corner to the vehicle, you know,
there you go.
He lost his life, and that was horrible.
Lights out. And that's the thing. Is like you have to. One of the things I always say is you have to take into account the totality of the circumstances. And that's not just from the citizen's perspective. That's the officer's perspective too. Because at the end of the day, if he is a bad guy, right? Let's just say he's the worst guy ever on planet Earth. Then at what point do I stop putting the control of this stop in his hands and I keep it and take it in mind? I can't let a guy who won't listen to me just not listen to me. I have to do something to get him to comply, whether that is hands-on, whether that is non-lethal, or if it comes down to it and he threatens my life or someone else's, lethal. I can't let a civilian run a traffic stop or an investigation. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have, is that people don't understand that when you're not complying, you're manipulating the conversation. When you're not doing if you're given a lawful order, you're not complying by it, you're trying to manipulate the situation. And that's what he was doing. And he not only did it unknowingly, he was well aware of what he was doing. That's why he was recording, and that's why he was playing the "I don't know, officer. What did I do wrong? What could I have done? Officer, explain to me what's going on. I don't know what's going on." Bullshit, because if that would have been one of his commanding officers, he wouldn't have said none of that shit. If that would have been if that would have been a captain, if that would have been, or whatever else go up the rank, if that would have been an admiral, if that would have been master chief, he would have did what he was told. And then after he did what he was told, he would have asked questions. If no one else knows how important and how much of a necessity it is to follow orders, it is a military trained officer. Period. And he was playing around, in my opinion, he was playing around with them officers because of the climate of the country at that time. But also he's not realizing that he's playing around with his life. And that, to me, let's just say these were two rookie, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm afraid of nigga cops. And let's just say they took it to that next level, and instead of him pulling out the pepper spray or pulling out a taser or pulling out a baton, they pulled out their Glocks and they went to work on him and thought they saw a gun, thought his phone was a gun. We've seen that happen. That little boy that they was chasing, and the chopper was they had the helicopter flying over. They're chasing this boy. He's running. He has a phone in his hand, but it's dark, and he's going into the backyard of his grandmama's house, and he can't get in, and the police finally catch up to him. And what do they see? Black object in his hand. They light him up.
You remember the name of that? Because I know I heard the case before. I don't remember the name of it though.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it either, but I definitely did that. That's on my channel. But it's like, those are the things. We got it downloaded now. Those are the things that you're dealing with. And it's like, why would you put yourself in that type of situation when it's unnecessary? It's like, yes, there are some instances where the circumstances or the series of unfortunate events take place, and you're in a situation where it's gonna look a little edgy, it's gonna look a little bad, it's gonna look a little off. But when you can just simply stop and comply, why not do that when you know what's at stake? I think I got your video right here.
Yeah, the South Carolina one. Yeah. And the reason I bring that up, and I think that's an excellent point. But now this is just the argumentative, the argumentative side of me. Is someone could, on one hand, say he was complying with one order to keep his hands out the vehicle, which some could interpret he's trying to, I guess, surrender or show himself to not be a threat. But then if that escalates to him getting pepper sprayed inside of the vehicle while also being asked to exit, I think there's some room to argue that it's very subjective, and I hate using this word, but then some people can say that was unnecessary. And I think that may have, especially within the context of the climate that we were in, I think that may have been a contributing factor into why the officers got fired, which I didn't necessarily fully agree with, but that's just the circumstances at hand.
I think the officers got fired just because of, like I said, because of the climate that we're in. Mm-hmm. And I think that it was one of those things to where it's like, just like that, those officers, they got fired for tasing some kids legal, and they were justified in Georgia. Those college kids that literally just was like, fuck you, I'm gonna drive off, and they got tased and they got fired. So it's like the fact that they did, I mean, I would hope that they both sued or whatever the case may be. But it's like the fact that they did, what law did they break by tasing this guy? What law? I mean, those kids. What law did they break by pepper spraying this guy? And it's like, you can't tell me that pepper spray wasn't warranted to someone who's non-compliant, because my thing is this, to those officers' defense, when you go hands-on, that's when it really gets dangerous. Because now you saw how he was resisting even after being pepper sprayed. Let's say there's no pepper spray involved, and they just yank him out the door, and they're just trying to get him to come in and to get him to comply and get on the ground from the vehicle, and he hasn't been pepper sprayed. So he's already a little disoriented from the pepper spray, and all he pretty much did was just stiffen up and resist it that way. But let's say if he really wanted to get jiggy with him, and he really wanted to tussle and go hands-on with these officers, then at what point does it stop? Because people don't understand that once I go hands-on, I can disengage and re-engage, but you're not going home at that point. You're not gonna go home. It's never gonna be an instance where the police fight and wrestle with a dude for 2 seconds or 2 minutes and that person goes home. It doesn't happen.
That is what we call
you're
in my industry a risk multiplier.
exactly. Yes.
that is what you call a risk multiplier.
Perfect. So it's like now you're up in the ante and you're playing around. And now what happens when they can't get you to comply, when they can't get you to put your hands up and they're getting tired, adrenaline dump has already taken place. And now it's like, okay, we got to do something. Or if one of those guys gets scared and they think he's going for my gun, then what? Is it worth dying at that point over? No way. Let's go ahead.
South
We got the
Carolina
video.
investigators are studying
I
dramatic
can bring that
dash
back
cam
in a second.
video.
Yep.
It shows a white state police trooper shooting an unarmed black man during a routine traffic stop. Authorities say the shooting by Trooper Sean Grobert was not justified. The video was planned at Grobert's bond hearing last night. The shooting took place 3 weeks ago. The trooper was checking an alleged seatbelt violation.
Can I see your license, please? Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
I just got my license. You said get my license. I grabbed my license right there. That's my license right there.
Put your hands behind your back. 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 Put your hands behind your back.
What did I do, sir?
Are you hit?
I think so. I can't feel my leg. I don't know what happened. I just grabbed my leg.
Rachel on 866, I need a 1052.
Why did you shoot me?
Well, you dove head first back into your car.
I'm sorry.
You told him
You
to.
jumped back out, I'm telling you,
Lavar
get out of
Jones
the
was
car.
his name. Lavar Jones. That's what it was.
Okay.
And this was years before the lieutenant.
The victim,
Yeah.
Lavar Jones, was struck at least once in the hip. 31-year-old Grobert was fired from his state trooper job last week. He was charged yesterday with assault and battery. In South
Now that's-
Carolina, investigators.
Absolutely warranted.
Ridiculous.
That in itself, yes, because even if he was saying, well, he darted back into the car, you gave him a command to go into the car, number one. And then you then turned around and said, okay, he going to the car. Now I'm gonna get scared and I'm gonna think he's doing what? Pulling out a gun? Okay, you have your gun already out. You can't shoot until you see said gun.
Mhm.
And he did not do that. He literally just went
That
to
sounds
work
familiar.
and shot him. He just went to work and he shot him. It was just like that. I got a video about this officer for the guy that just got shot the other day, day ago. The airman.
I wanted to talk about that too.
So Airman Roger, yeah. I don't know what that officer was doing, but he was asking for it. And that's the thing. It's like a lot of these police officers, they have to realize what's happening and what they're going to do. And they have to think ahead. You got to be tactical minded, even when you're doing something as simple as an introduction. Mm-hmm. And that police officer in that video, I'm going to show where he went wrong.
I sent it in there too.
Yeah, he's listening to someone. That's going to be a longer break now, but he's listening to somebody once he gets on site, on the scene, who's telling him, hey, yeah, this person might have been fighting or whatever. You don't have any evidence of what this person is saying. You're just going by hearsay. No problem. Information is always good. You go to this person's house. You don't hear another woman arguing. You don't hear no fighting. You don't hear no cussing. You don't hear anything. So therefore, if there was something that occurred, at this point, it is no longer occurring. So you need to tone it down a bit. And the first thing he did was banging like he's the police.
He announced himself. That's one thing.
Not that first time. He did.
No, the second time. It's
the second time he did. So it's like right now, if I'm in my house and I hear a motherfucker knock like that, and I don't hear sheriff's department, such and such police department, such FBI, CIA, if I don't hear that, the first thing I'm gonna do, if I don't hear that, accompanied with that, first thing I'm doing is grabbing my gun.
Yep, I get it.
I hear it again, and then I hear sheriff's department. I'm still not putting down my gun. I wouldn't have pulled it out, but I keep my gun on me in a holster at all times. And that's just because of my training. A lot of people don't do that. They're in that mentality of you come home, you put your gun up, put it in the lockbox and all. My gun don't come off my hip till I'm about to get in the bed. And when it does, at that point, it goes to my nightstand. So it's like my gun is always with me. So it's like, yeah, if I'm that alarmed, I would have went and I would have looked. And then the whole part 2 was once you look through that peephole and you see that's an officer, put your gun up because this is a police officer.
Yeah.
And
even if it is, Florida, where everybody.
Yep.
And actually,
exactly.
I think someone said that it was also the same department or it was the same area where the Acorn cop shot. So I think that's just that's just a double whammy.
Oh wow, I'm gonna look into that.
I don't know
my
if that's true or not.
That police officer did that double barrel roll and let did that shit there. Unbelievable.
That was
but
hilarious.
it's like you have to take those kind of things into account on both sides, because what that police officer did, and my thing is this, for the police officer standpoint, if you think that you're in trouble, if you think that this is a bad guy, the last thing you need to do is stand in front of the door thinking that you're going on a heated domestic. Why would you do that? I would have banged on that door and I would have stepped over I wouldn't have even been in front of the door. It's a domestic. I'm hitting that door from the side. Boom, 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 boom. Sheriff's department.
He
and I'm gonna
he got out the way of the peephole.
Yeah. And then he came back.
I don't have a problem with.
I
think that makes sense. Now the thing
get out of the way of that door, those windows, because sometimes people will be like, "Well, fuck it, I'm about to go to jail, and I've been to jail before, and I'm about to do some time, so I'm just gonna bang out, shoot through the windows or shoot through the door, and just it's whatever." But that's why you move. But it's like even then, if you think that this is a bad guy, get out of the way of that door, because when he opened that door and he saw that gun in his hand, it wasn't even raised. But why are you answering the door with a gun in your hand? Because this dude knocked the way that he did. But when you look through that peephole, and if you didn't look through that peephole, shame on you. Well, that's just that's my thing. But that officer, he was doing too much, and you're not thinking you by yourself.
And what happened, and this is what bothered me about this. In my personal opinion, I don't think attorneys should just be able to lie to the public like that, because the initial your mate, that's your guy.
That damn Brett, I said Brett.
Brett Favre. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Brett Favre's a liar too with his thieving ass. That federal fund stealing motherfucking Hall of Fame, Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback.
But it was like the one that happened a couple weeks ago. Was it in Chicago where they said that, why'd you fire 94 times? He was in his view. No, he wasn't. He shot you first. He shot the officers first.
Yes.
They said, they didn't identify themselves. No, you're not, dude. It was a full-on tactical team with police written across their chest in 72 size times New Roman font.
And they know with those kind of vehicles that those are police, they're unmarked police vehicles. Because I can tell you this, when my dad was working in narcotics, so you have unmarked police vehicles, but then you do have undercover police vehicles, and those undercover police vehicles, they are not like the standard police. They're not going to be an Impala. They're not going to be a Ford Cruiser. They're not going to be
a Crown Vic.
It's going to be like a Ford Probe or some shit like that. Like when he was doing buy bus and stuff with his team, they were in like regular cars, not just an unmarked car. People don't understand that there is a difference between an unmarked police vehicle and a undercover police vehicle. An undercover police vehicle, it is just a regular car that a police officer is driving. An unmarked police vehicle, it is still the same make and model of the police cruisers. It just doesn't have the tags on it. Or like some of the new ones you'll see now, they're in all black. They're like they have that black matte finish, and you got to like really be looking at the car to see like the lettering and stuff, because it's like real inconspicuous. But most of the time, an unmarked police car, it's still a police car. It still has the lights, still has the sirens. It just doesn't have the decals, and it's not in that traditional blue and white color like in Chicago or whatever. Ghost print. Thank you. Will on it. That ghost print. Yes, that's what they call it, because it's like you can see it, but you got to really be up on it. And if it's dark, you really can't. Unless you like in the broad daylight and the sun is shining on it, then yeah, you can see it, but it's like it's really, really faint to see it. But other than that, you're not gonna be able to see it. And especially if you going 70 miles an hour and you driving past and that car is sitting there, unless you just like at the perfect angle, you won't see it. But it's still an unmarked police car.
And the thing about this that confused, because it's still fresh, it's still very new. It was like a week ago, like 2 days ago. The things that confused me about it was, well, first off, the claims were that the officer didn't announce himself, which is not true, because if you look at the body cam, he did. But he did knock on the door and then step to the side. So even if the airman, you know, God rest his soul, did look through the peephole, he wouldn't have seen anything. Because I've had people that want to sell the insurance or whatever do that same thing. Well, they'll knock on my door and I'll say, "Who's at my door?" And then I'll look through the peephole, which I try not to do. I'll look through the peephole and they're off to the side, you know, in the alleyway. And it's like, okay, why are we doing this? So there was that. But then the long form body cam footage, it shows that the woman who I guess was like the landlord or in charge or some person that was involved in the apartment complex or whatever, she said in the video, this is a regular occurrence. You know, I've heard this 4 or 5 times. They added again. You know, him and his baby mama, him and his girl, or whatever. I heard somebody get called the B word, and I heard somebody get slapped. But then when she read off the number to the apartment unit, and then when it was publicized, they said, "Oh, the officers entered the wrong apartment," which I don't think is true. But at the same time, got to have some critical thinking. If there's a domestic that's going on, and I don't hear no slapping, I don't hear somebody's head getting knocked up against the wall.
There you go.
You know, now maybe could it have been, and I'm not saying this, you know, about the airman, I'm talking about just the situation in general. Could it have been that maybe they was getting a slap on, and then when somebody said, "I'm gonna call the police," somebody got up out of there and said, "You know what? I don't want to deal with the cops today. I'm gonna just go home and we're gonna get it later." Could it have been that? Probably.
Well, here's the thing. It's like, and this comes from just training from police officers and just experience with domestic. And I would tell you this, this is why I believe that a law enforcement officer, they need to extend their that training period. That FTO is critical. It's usually like a 6-month training period, and it's more so of a processes and procedures and following policies, knowing how to fill out correct paperwork. That's usually part of your grade. And then the other part is just being able to, hey, make this type of arrest, this type of search. Does he do this right? Does he do that right? But the reason why I say it needs to be at least a year, because there's certain things you need to see. And a seasoned police officer, they'll see certain things and they know how to approach certain things, as opposed to a unseasoned police officer or a rookie. A rookie doesn't really know how to carry themselves when it comes to especially domestics, because domestics are different. You've heard police officers, and I can even remember my dad used to always talk about this. He said, "Man, when we hear domestic, especially on a Friday night, man, we taking the long way." Right. And as a young teenager, I would ask Dad, like, "Well, Daddy, you know, what if the woman is getting killed or something like that? Or what if the woman is doing this?" And he explained to me, he said, "Well, a lot of times that woman and that man, this is their thing that they do. They fight not on just this Friday, but they fight every Friday or every other Friday. And they arguing about his check, or they arguing about whatever. But if we go there,
and he coming back, and
yes,
you know, someone look
if
through your
we
phone.
go there and we fireball over there and get there in 2 minutes, and we jump on that man and we lock him up, put the cuffs on him." He said, "As soon as we put the cuffs on him, she gonna start screaming and hollering, talking about, no, don't take him, don't take him. Please don't take him, don't take him, don't do it." He's like, and in some instances, some of those women, they'll jump on us for jumping on him, and he the one that broke the law. So it's like a lot of times we take the long route to a domestic, because by the time you get there, he gone, or cooler heads have prevailed and they've calmed down, and now you can actually get down to the nitty-gritty of what's happening. And it's like, it wasn't until I got older when I realized that, and then when I started going through training and stuff like that, I realized that what it was. So I had literally some training on it, even though as a teenager I did, but I understood what he was saying when I was actually on the job. So it's like when you're talking about being in a situation to where, you know, things can go left real quick. And you're going there with the mindset of trying to break up a domestic dispute or trying to sort it out when people are yelling, people are fighting, or people are drunk, people are high, whatever the case may be. Those are variables that put everybody's life in danger. So it's a different approach, but you don't learn that coming out the academy reading a book. You don't learn that, in the academy reading a book. You don't learn that in the academy watching some start and stop video where your training officers are talking about that. You learn that being on the job with an officer who got 5 or 7 years already and know how to tell you, hold on, young buck.
He's one of our
regulars. I want you to
regulars.
do. Let's first split them up. You go talk to him. I'm gonna go talk to her, or whoever seems to be the wildest one. The more seasoned officer is gonna take control of that one. I'm gonna go talk to him. You go talk to her. Just get her story, but just keep her over there. Don't let her come over here. Don't let her go nowhere else. Keep them right there. That's just coming from experience. And that's why even somebody in the chat put in there, it should be 2 years. I would not disagree with that. I'm saying at least a year, because within a year's time, you going to see not one, but you're going to see a handful of domestics. You working enough because rookies are going to be on what shift? They're going to be on nights shift. And they're going to be on weekends, guaranteed. And they're going to more than likely start out in the worst district, on the worst part of the district, or whatever the case may be. That way they get exposed to the worst of it, so that they know how to carry themselves. They know how to navigate through it because they're watching their FTOs do it. They're watching their FTOs coach them. And then when it's over, you go back and review. Hey, see what I mean? Like when you saw that guy and he was trying to get to the car, because he had some dope on the seat that he didn't want us to find. And he wanted to try to hide it because he knew he would have went to jail for the drugs too. It's like those kinds of things that you have to really look at and be concerned about, but you got to teach that to those young guys. They have to be in it to experience that, to learn it. Because when you go to a door and you do knock on a door, like even, man, when I was in Michigan, like we would have to go and we knocking on trailer parks. It's like we going into a trailer park, dude. It's like you going into a trailer park, at night, or you going to a trailer park early in the morning. You don't know if these people have been up on meth all night. You don't know. I'm trying to serve a warrant, trying to take somebody to jail that didn't come to court. This person's already a bad guy. You think I'm going to go knock on their door? Good afternoon, it's the sheriff's department. We'd like to speak to... Nope. I'm banging on that door because I want you to be startled. I want you to be scared. I want you to sober up real quick and obey those commands, as opposed to giving you time to try to plot something else because you think I'm a nice guy or you think I'm soft. So it's like
or like when we're stacking up on connexes, when we're doing, mount stuff, it's like, there's a way that you approach certain doors, because if there's a window somewhere, you don't want to walk past a window and then get hit upside the head and now you're out to fight.
Exactly. And it's like, even when you're doing that, you have certain times when you say, hey man, we're going to be real quiet, or we're going to be fast and deliberate. We're going to be static, or we're going to be dynamic. It's like those kinds of things that you have to learn and know when and where to do those kinds of things when you're approaching certain situations, but that comes from experience. That's why you have a sergeant on site or something like that to call the shots and say, yeah, I think this guy might be a little weird. I've even done temperature checks where we've had somebody say, yeah, this guy got a lot of guns. He came up to the school to try to get his kid. However, we found out he doesn't have custody of the kid, and he wanted to come up there. The kid said he was at his house last weekend and he had a bunch of guns. And it's like, shit, now we got to go to this person's house to do a temperature check. Basically telling them, hey man, you don't have custody of your kids, so stop trying to go see him, especially at a school. You got a lot of fucking guns around here. Going up to the school with or without them. Now that we know who you are, we're going to lock your ass up if you go up there again. Don't do it. And then hoping that this guy will take our advice, or he might just say, well, fuck it. I can't see my kid no more. That's what you telling me. I might as well try to kill us all.
And
that's what a simple temperature check do. I'm just going by to say hi and let you know what you can and can't do going forward. And the guy could be like, fuck it, I'm going to check out.
And the point that you made about having an experienced officer with a junior officer, I think that's why Officer Gutierrez got the brunt of the decision, and I don't necessarily think that they should have been fired from the that Officer Gutierrez should have been fired from the force.
Nope.
But at the same time, I thought I read somewhere, and I think we can look at the audit video, that the reason that they came under fire, poor choice of words, the reason that that he got fired was because he did not follow their department's procedures. And then at some point in the video, the man that does the audit, me personally, I think he's a little bit snarky, but I think he tried to make it seem as if the officers were threatening the lieutenant by saying, "Hey, you know, we could just drop this, or we could press it. And by the way, I know in the military they'll do double jeopardy, so you might want to just shut up, let this happen, and go by the wayside." I don't think that's necessarily what happened, but I think there may have been some type of fall through in protocol, and I do think he was trying to give him a break. But I think in giving him a break, he might have been less than 100% honest, and that resulted in his firing. I don't know if I'm willing to say that it was completely because of the climate. Some people will say that it's because the body cam footage went viral or not. We can go through the audit video.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can look at the audit video definitely to see that, but I will say this.
Because the older officer got the heavy side of the waterfall. The younger one did, and even in the interaction, the younger one was trying to say, "Hey, oh man, can I kind of get on this?" And he said, "No, back away from this car. I got this dude," because he's not complying.
He was pissed off. Yeah, he was mad. Yeah, he was pissed off, and that's my thing about police officers and the expectations, I would say, of police officers. Y'all expect police officers, or citizens expect police officers
to be
just, no matter what the fuck goes on, no matter what the fuck happens, no matter if a person's compliant or non-compliant, to just go along with whatever's happening and be the nice guy. There's a time to be nice, and then there's a time to not be nice. And the whole point to this is you have to accept the fact that this guy would have never gotten pepper sprayed. He would have never got thrown to the ground or anything like that had he simply complied once he got to the gas station with everything else that took place prior to. Not stopping when he got pulled over on the dark road and all that. Had he just done what those officers instructed him to do, because even while they were getting him out, pepper spraying him and stuff, I'm a police officer, I'm a lieutenant in the army, this is ridiculous, y'all doing this to me. They were
at that point, you're going down. And
you know what it is already.
To an anecdote, but we
yes,
later.
It's like you already know what it is, dude. And my biggest thing with him is that you know better. You would have never pulled that on any military base. If some MPs pulled your ass over, you would have did just what they said, and you would have been flexing at the fact you're a lieutenant. Fine. You still would have done what they said because you know how this goes. Yes. That was my whole thing to why I was even like what he sued for and a little change or whatever that he got. It's like, yeah, rightfully so, dude. They should have gave your ass like $4. I think he got like $4,000 or some shit. He should have got $4 and whatever it was, just because he was being a dick on purpose. And that's what I could not understand. It's like, why would you do this on purpose, knowing what just happened back in Bay with George Floyd, knowing that, hey man, you're kind of like fucking around with your life, and knowing too that, man, you are in the military, dude. You're embarrassing your uniform. That's just what that is, by being a dick. Not, I didn't know the law. Not, oh, I thought it was something different. You were literally being a dick. They're telling you to get out the car. You like, why are you pulling me over? Why are you doing? You playing dumb for the fact of you wanted to record it so that you can get to where you gotten to. You just thought you were going to get a big payday because of what had already occurred earlier that year with the climate of the country. That was my biggest thing with him. And I was more so disappointed in that part, at the fact that you were willing to not necessarily disrespect, but to just make your military service make your military department that you're serving look bad, make yourself look bad, especially by being a lieutenant, and by just playing around with police officers, knowing what's already going on, what they're already going through. You're literally pouring gas on the fire for the sake of going viral and getting a payday.
and I can get slightly anecdotal, because I can see both sides. I really can, especially with the recording, because look, this is why I got a dash cam. But to get a little bit anecdotal, I had a situation. It wasn't exactly like this, but it was a matter of just like, okay, got pulled over. Officer came up to me. Now, granted, I was in civilian clothes, so I wasn't in uniform.
Okay.
In civilian clothes, guy comes up on 10 and 2, and he asked for my license and registration. I'm like, well, the license is here, in my pocket. The registration is up here. And the funny thing was, because I'm a firearms carrier, I appreciate my 2A. The thing was, I was doing the thing that was taught to me by the police officer that handed me or that did the training for me to get my CCO. So they said, like, look, keep your license and registration in an easily accessible area. Don't reach in your pocket. Don't reach in your glove compartment. I keep my stuff in the sun visor because it's right there. So unless you think my gun is like this flat and I'm gonna just do something like this,
right?
No one would think you're pulling a gun out the sun visor.
Right.
So I did, and the funny thing was, I did the exact same thing that I did with this officer as to when I got pulled over. A completely isolated time. The first one understood. The second one, he got frustrated. And he told me to put my hands in my lap. I was just like, wow. Fine, do you think? And he started, reading me the riot act. He started shouting at me. I wish I had my dash cam. Unfortunately, I got in a car wreck, so
okay.
I don't have that dash cam anymore. I would have sent you the video.
Yeah.
Funny. So I don't have that dash cam anymore. But he said, "Put your hands in your lap right now." I said, "All right, fine." I know he's gonna do it. And I've been yelled at before. People done had cadre yelling at me, and I've been through survival school and all that. So I'm like, look, I ain't no stranger getting yelled at. I'm gonna just let him get his points off and just try to de-escalate the situation. He ended up, understanding what was going on, but he, it was 8 o'clock in the morning. He was probably tired. He didn't feel like doing it. So I understand. And I think the key takeaway of this is, whether it's Lieutenant Nazario, whether it's me, whether it's, unfortunately, Airman Forston is no longer with us, anyone else, I think the question that we have to ask is, what do you do in these situations to make sure that you can just live to see another day and do like what you always say, don't hold court in the street? Because I think at a certain point in time, he was kind of trying to hold court in the street by asking, what's going on, what's this, what's XYZ. By the time he done pepper sprayed you, which I personally wanted to ask, what was the advantage of being pepper sprayed in a vehicle? Because my thing is, if you blinded and or choking, probably not a very feasible idea to try to get out of the vehicle. Sure, we can talk about that later.
Yep.
But at that point, you're gonna go to the ground, or you're gonna get out the vehicle. The time for arguing or asking questions has probably elapsed at that point. So it'd be better for you to just like, hey, he's gonna do what he's got, because you being a lieutenant, I've been dressed down before. I've had people yell or shout at me before. Sometimes you got to stand at attention and just be like, all right, here you go.
Yes. And let me ask you this. Active military, same situation for you. You don't pull over once the lights hit. What do you do at the gas station?
I'm on 10 and 2, and I'm not giving him any reason to get pissed off anymore.
He then tells you to get out of the car. What are you going to do?
I'd say, sir, my right hand is up here. I'm going to unbuckle my seatbelt.
Okay.
Go.
You unbuckle. Yep.
Unbuckle. Sir, my left hand is here. I'm going to open the door.
Yep.
Like me to open, open door. Click. Cool. I'm not going to make any sharp movements, because now, depending on what state you're in some states you might have to automatically disclose that you're carrying a firearm. Some states not. There's a difference of states. He may or may not ask. Some cops do, some don't. Doors open. All right, you see my full body. I'm gonna step out of the vehicle now. Left foot, left hand, right foot, right hand. And look, by the time people, I'm not trying to humble brag, but by the time people realize that that's how I talk, people say, okay, this guy's either A, not trying to go to the jail, or B, he's probably trained. And by the time they see my ID and they see my insurance, they're going to find out.
I was just going to point that out. I said, do you realize that everything that you said you would do,
no person does that.
It was calm. And it was in direct response to what you were being asked to do. You didn't ask, what you pulling me over for, officer? You didn't say, what's the problem? Tell me what the problem is, sir. I'm recording this video. You didn't say you would do any of that. You would literally, whatever command they gave you, you're literally going back and you're giving that command back to them to say, hey, here's what I'm doing to comply to your command. Every movement. Now, yes, granted, you are someone who is intelligent and trained in law enforcement in the military. So you understand commands and you understand how important it is to follow orders. And all I'm saying is, regardless of whatever else anybody said about these officers, if anybody in that situation and in that scenario was more qualified to follow commands, it was Lieutenant Nazario. That's all he does, is follow orders and give commands. That's all he does. He's a lieutenant. He's not a private. He's not off of a basic training leave. He's not fresh out of the military. He is a lieutenant. So he has been in service for quite some time. He knows exactly how to follow orders. Why would he
Or he might have been OTS. You never know. I'm joking.
Why would he choose not to do so now for a simple traffic stop? Worst case scenario is what? I get a ticket. Worst case scenario is I get a ticket. Fuck all that. I'm going to be the asshole that's going to turn this shit up, crank it up. I'm going to escalate by not complying to these officers. I'm going to do everything possible to make these two motherfuckers think that I'm not the fucking military. And that's exactly what he did. He let that shit percolate and percolate and percolate until he got pepper sprayed, and then he was acting then. Because, and this is why I don't like this non-lethal shit. I don't fuck around with tasers, pepper spray, none of that shit. That shit is literally a 50-50 thing. Some people, it will fuck them up, and they are like, oh my God, I can't believe you. I'm sorry. But then other people, they'll do what he did. Officer, what seems to be the problem? Why you doing this to me? Why y'all doing this? This ain't right, man. I can't believe y'all doing it. That's exactly what he did. Just like people who get tased. You hit them ass, hit their ass with the lightning. What do? Man, I'm just trying to ask and find out what's going on. It's like, man, I'm sitting here looking like, what the fuck is he on? Because my thing is, and that's why I say tasers are 50-50. There are a percentage of people, well, non-lethal, period. It's 50-50. There are some people that are just impervious to it. It doesn't discombobulate, disorient. It doesn't make them comply. And then there are others, when the shit when it gets deployed, they're so hopped up on something, whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whatever the case may be, they're so hopped up on the shit that it still doesn't affect them. So you can say, hey, there's a 25% chance that this taser ain't gonna work. Yeah, because you just might be impervious to it. However, there's another 25% chance that this shit ain't gonna work because I'm on fucking codeine and fentanyl or some shit at the same damn time. And now when I get hit, I don't even feel it. Even though if I wasn't on this shit, I would. But that's why I say this shit is 50-50. Because some people, it gets them right in line, they get stiff, fall to the ground, or hit the little robot joint, and they done, cuff them, you're good. But that other 50%, when it don't work out that way, now what you gonna do? Because in some instances, in the wrong situation, you can piss a motherfucker off. You hit a 6'5", 310 motherfucker with that shit and piss him off, now you got a fight on your hands.
And one thing that a lot of people don't realize about I think it's the X27 or the X56. I forget which. Now, this is something that I learned at COPYAC, Chief of Police's Youth Advisory Council. So,
okay.
Quick aside. Before I left high school, actually, so I'm from the DMV, by the way. So shout out to the DMV.
Okay.
In the wake of like the Freddie Gray discourse, what happened is that PG County, what they did, because PG County actually had the highest rapport between citizens and police officers. So what they ended up doing was they created this thing called the Chief of Police's Youth Advisory Council. And I think it was with Chief Nowitzki or Chief McGaw, one of the two, because I know at one point they switched. They started building a program where they had students, they had people that were, middle school to high school, that being the age demographic that I was in. And they would bring them to the police station and explain to them how certain things work. They would explain to them how a taser worked. I've done a couple of those electric shooting gallery things. Have you ever done one of those where it's like they take so they take a weapon and it's outmoded, instead of having a bolt and a magazine, what they have is like a CO2 cartridge, and the CO2 cartridge is hooked up to like a laser pointer. And essentially, if you point the weapon at, and it's a real weapon, but it's just outmoded, like got a symbol in it. If you pull the trigger, it will make the action like it's firing. So you'll hear and you'll see the recoil, but instead it'll register as like a hit on the TV screen or whatever, and it will simulate you have fired your weapon at somebody. So I've done like a couple of those, and one thing that I learned in that was some of the tasers, the way they work is that when the prongs deploy, they actually deploy in a spread. So the point is, one is supposed to hit you in the shoulder, one's supposed to hit you in like the lower back. And it's supposed to be like it's getting that massive surface area. So then when it applies the electricity to you, it's going to flow through you. If you get one, and shouts out to Retro Rifle, but if you get one and that prong don't even hit you, you're out.
Ain't nothing happening.
And then you have to contact shot somebody. So that means you have to dig in and get
in, and you got to get to
nasty.
I'm not doing that, man. I'm just not doing that, because it's like, and my thing is this: if I feel as though I need to use that, I need to go non-lethal, I need to deploy a taser, then it's like I still have to now think, what happens when this doesn't work? And what am I going to do? Am I going to try a pressure point? Am I going to go hands-on? Am I going to, pull my weapon? Am I going to pull? Am I going to pull out my baton? It's like I now have to know and be prepared to escalate to the next level of force. It's like, or am I going to have backup? Are we going to try to dive on this guy? Whatever the case may be, what are we going to do next? And it's like, I'm also going to be thinking, because you can't really necessarily see exactly where them prongs go when you deploy them. Did it hit him? Did I get him? Should I try to contact taser? What should I do? It's adding too many variables, and it's too much more that you got to think about and plan for and be prepared to address. And my thing is, I would rather disengage. I'd rather pull my Glock and say, hey, man, this shit's about to get real ugly real quick if you don't comply, and say, hey, either we're going to go hands-on or I'm waiting for backup. We're going to get 30 more cops out here and we'll all dive on his ass at the same time. Fine. But if I'm not in that, if I'm in that situation and I deploy that taser, I deploy that pepper spray, or whatever the case may be, then now what's next? Because then if I'm tussling with this guy, I can get some of that pepper spray shit on me. Now it's disorienting me. It get in my eye. He take it like, and when you saw Nazario, when he hit Nazario, it got on Nazario's hands. What happens if Nazario,
if I'm not mistaken, did he have glasses on?
He had glasses on. So it's on Nazario's hands. What happens if I go hands on and Nazario rakes that shit across my face?
Ooh.
Now I'm out. And now it's just my partner, and now he's one-on-one with this guy. What is he gonna do? It's like those are the things that people don't take into account, that you have to as the officer, because it can go left. If he disables me, now I can't see, I'm disoriented, I'm hacking and coughing, because I could be one of those people where the shit damn near cripples me. I'm hacking and coughing and shit like that. What am I now leaving exposed? My firearm. Or if I got a baton, or if I have a taser on too, I'm leaving too much other shit to be exposed, to where now I'm trying to, recover myself from getting infected with this shit, to where it's like I'm putting myself at risk and my partner. And those are the things that people don't understand. It's like, it is so important and critical for whoever is getting stopped to comply. Just comply, man, because you make it safe for everyone. And that's what Nazario, in my opinion, he was playing with it, which is why I was so pissed off. And I believe he should have been reprimanded by the military. His commanding officer, they should have reprimanded his ass for that shit, because they know him and they know, like, hey, man, you were bullshitting and you made us look bad, fucking around, trying to find out.
And as a
And that's
lieutenant, an
exactly what that
LOR will
was.
you're done.
Yeah.
Good luck trying to make it past captain if you catch a LOR.
Yep. Let me see if I can
and
pull up the whatchamacallit too. If I can
which one? The audit one?
The audit.
So yeah, because the secondary one was actually this goes into the next point, because he inadvertently allowed the search, because the other half of this was not just the tactical thing, not just the arrest, but the search, because they ended up taking his firearm, because they asked him if he had a firearm. He said yes, it's there. So they ended up searching him after he was already cuffed. They searched his firearm and ran the serial number, and then it became a Fourth Amendment issue, which in part the judge decided in Lieutenant Nazario's favor, saying that yes, he may have had a firearm, but it was not germane to his traffic arrest. So the officers didn't necessarily have. It was December 5th, 2020. So the officers didn't necessarily have a reason. And I wanted to ask this: that's not a Terry stop, correct? Because Terry v. Ohio, that's for a pat down of your person once you become arrested or once you become detained.
Yes, that would have been a pat down. And here's the thing too: what they should have done was, if that's me on that stop, and we got to, my partner or myself, I ain't gonna pepper spray. So my partner would have pepper sprayed him, or we pepper spray him. Once we get the cuffs on him, which is why I stopped it at that point. Once we get him cuffed, I now want to find out who the fuck is this guy. Is he really who he's saying he is or not? I want to find out who the fuck he is. So I want to run his plates and I want to run his ID or his prints, or whatever the case. If he got ID, great. I want to find out who the fuck this dude is. Because if he's military at that point, I'm going to assume, yes, that's his gun. Cool. I ain't tripping on that. He got his dog in the back. We'll figure that out. But we got his ass.
The only thing was
he's fucked around with me, and not only am I'm pissed and I'm upset and I'm aggravated, but I want to get his ass, and I want his motherfucking commanding officer, I want his motherfucking unit to find out what the fuck he did. And I'm gonna while I'm on camera still, I'm gonna run down all of the shit. Once I got him in cuffs, I'm gonna run down all of the fuck shit he did, why he shouldn't have done it, and then I'm gonna say, yep, now we can take his ass to jail, and now we're gonna get his ass medically treated because we done put this pepper juice on him, and now I'm gonna take his ass to jail because I want him his CO to see how embarrassing he was by being a dick. That's what I would do, because it's like I'm gonna be an asshole because you fucking around with everybody's freedom and everybody's life right now. And to his point, he lost his fucking job fucking around because Nazario wanted to fuck around.
And this is where I got to play DA. This is where I got to play devil's advocate or defense attorney. Because the weapon was not part of the arrest, I think that's what, and in the video, it will talk about that. Because then it became a Fourth Amendment issue because at that point, they already had him in custody. Then they tried to seize his weapon, which was not part of the arrest. It was a traffic violation. And I think in one part of the video, he had because he had just bought the car. He had like a temporary license plate in the back of his, in the back of his, what do you call it? Like
the back of his window. It could
back of the window.
Yeah, so it could, because, and that's the thing too. This is a whole nother. It's just a DMV issue. The DMV need to stop doing that shit, because we're talking upwards of 98% of vehicles that are sold that are SUVs, or even if they're not a standard sedan, those vehicles have tinted windows. And those fucking bullshit ass, sometimes they used to be written with Sharpie marker, dates and registration information.
Or a piece of paper that's like this big.
Piece of fucking paper. It's extremely difficult to see. That's why I applaud the states, because there's some states where they be like, nah, motherfucker, we gonna issue your ass some tags right here, right now. Like here in Texas, you don't get no temp plate sign. Your ass come in to get new shit. Not with a new car, but with your old car. Like when I got my plate switched over, they didn't give me no temporary places. They had to mail to me. Nope. They issued my ass some plates right then and there and said, if you want to get you some vanity plates or some shit, apply. But you getting real plates. I think every fucking department, every DMV needs to issue real plates. Fuck that temp tag shit. If they come in and they can, and my thing is this, you can enter motherfucking some, it could be on some cardboard or some paper or whatever the fuck it is, but it needs to be a real plate that you put on the fucking car. And it needs to say that on there. Temporary tag, license applied for, but it needs to be a real plate, because when they use that paper or when they use that cardboard, it gets fucked up from the weather, or it gets placed in the back window. And they need to tell them, you can't put this in your back window. You can't put this in your SUV lift gate. Nope. It gotta go on your car. Here go 2 plastic screws, and here go the goddamn plate. Put it on your car.
And it'll say the day that you purchased the car, the day that it expires. So you got until this window of time to get a freaking license.
Exactly.
Because I had to do that after my accident, because my car ended up getting totaled. So
yeah,
I've been through that song and dance before.
Yep. And my thing would be this: you can give them 3 months, you can give them 6 months, whatever you want to give them. It don't matter. But you tell their ass you have this time to get it, and these are the actual plates that you're putting on your vehicle. Ain't no paper, ain't no cardboard. Even if they want to get some bullshit plastic, something that is stamped that identifies that car, to where when they run that tag, it looks like a regular plate, and it just says temporary license applied for, and then it got like a plate or some little plate, and that is not like an average plate number. That's on it, that they can run and people can see what it is.
And the sad thing was, post-COVID and post this issue with the car market, man, them things took forever.
Yeah,
I knew, I saw people that had it for like, they had cars that they purchased like a year to 2 years ago, and they still didn't have a plate. And it's just like, man, they BSing with me getting my thing. And some people didn't even get pulled. Now, granted, where I live, they didn't get pulled over, so it was like, okay, yeah, police here may understand more, but you don't know what it's like in other districts, which is just, that's just a matter of whatever state you in. So that's here or there. But
and I guess where's the part on here that we want to talk about after the arrest. And here's what did Will say? He said something earlier that I saw in this chat. He said because he was outside of the vehicle, they did violate his. And here's the thing too, it's like he said, if you're going to arrest him, I know when I was in Michigan in law enforcement, if you arrested somebody and you impounded that car, you had to inventory that entire vehicle and do the inventory search. You find that gun or whatever, you're going to inventory that shit or whatever the case may be. And I kind of think in the fact that they ran his gun, I believe he ran the gun because he was pissed off, which understandably so. But I think it was definitely something to reprimand a motherfucker for. But firing a motherfucker essentially because he ran the gun, if that's what this turns out to be, I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
The funny thing about that, and I think I can give you the timestamp. The funny thing was, it was weird. So for I think it was the summary judgment, or I think it might have been the appeals, they said that the search for the weapon, meaning him putting his hand on the weapon, that was a violation. But him running the serial number of the gun was not. That was very confusing to me.
Yeah, see, I want to see what that is. I hope they say that in here. So
the timestamp you're looking for is 9 minutes and 55 seconds of the audit video.
9:55.
Yeah,
let's go.
Stand up, okay? Is there any weapons on you, sir?
No.
Okay. Any weapons in the vehicle?
Yes.
Okay.
So why didn't you just do as we asked, sir? Why didn't you just do as we asked?
No,
No, you weren't. My partner put his blue lights on.
Line ass.
Yes.
You didn't stop.
I was pulling over to a well-lit area for my safety and yours. I have respect for law enforcement.
No, you don't.
So,
No, you don't. Sit right on this curb right here. Turn around.
Come sit on this curb.
Walk backwards. Why didn't you stop? Why didn't you comply? It's a simple traffic stop.
It's dark over there. Those areas are dark. I did not feel comfortable.
All right, sir.
Those areas are dark.
I have you a cup of water.
Where's the medics?
They're here.
I need them to talk to me.
They're right here beside you.
I didn't commit any crimes. I'm leaving tonight. I'm not going to jail. I need something to be done for my eyes.
Nothing I can do to help you.
Can you wipe my face? Can you do something?
Then he needs to get out. And we had told him to get out. Try to take it out.
Keep your handcuffs on.
This is more the body cam stuff and just showing the context. In a minute, he's going to talk about the law based on this portion of the body cam.
You can tell him that. I just
I told him that, and that's why I don't understand why I'm still
Sir,
in
how do you say your last name?
Nazario. Can you please take the cuffs off, man? There's nothing wrong.
Now he wants the cuffs off.
Nothing wrong. Come on, this is
obviously there is, because you wouldn't comply with us. All we did is ask you to get out of the car.
And here's my thing. I get so tired of people, and people always do this. I'm two things real quick. Every time somebody get the cuffs, every time somebody interacts with the police and they act an ass, they talk cash shit. I mean, badass. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. You can't do this, you can't do that. Or they're just not listening until they get the cuffs put on their ass and they get put in that back seat. Or worst case scenario, they get fucking shot. Then they become the most compliant, the most understanding, coherent motherfuckers on the face of the earth. Because all this time, he was talking shit. Why you doing this? I'm not doing this. I'm trying to do this. What's the problem, officer? Now he got cuffs on. Now it's, please, officer, can you take these cuffs off me? Please, can you do this? Man, this ain't called for. We ain't got to do all that. I watched a video earlier today about a chick who did the same thing. She was driving on a fucking felony. She was driving, I mean, not a felony, but her fucking license. She was a repeat offender on her license being motherfucking revoked. Her license suspended. Repeat offender. So this is like the 5th time her license has been fucking suspended, and she's still driving. Should not have been driving, but she wasn't listening to cash shit, talking shit, not listening, getting on the phone, calling her mama, calling her sister, got put in cuffs, put in the back seat. Then she started crying, talking about, why can't I see my kids? My kids is in the car. Can I say goodbye to them? It's like, nah, bitch, you should have been listening to me when I was giving you commands, when I wasn't even trying to lock your ass up. But now we done went through all this shit. You got the cuffs on, and you're in the backseat of the car knowing you about to go to jail. You want me to now be the most understanding motherfucker in the world and do what you say when you wouldn't do what I was saying. That
or like
shit
the one
irks me.
Or like the one with the lady, she was like trying to get her brother because her brother had stolen something. Actually, it was a dude that was in the military. He had stolen something from like the airport, and then she was screaming and hollering at the top of her lungs, and then saying, you know, Mario, don't do this, Mario, don't do that. And when she get in the back of the car, she just got like that demeanor completely flipped.
Yep, it changes.
My thing is,
every single time.
This is just me being a person. I know that if and you explained this during the whole George Floyd thing. I understand that if my hands are behind my back and if I'm in cuffs, you can't shoot me. And if you do, you go into jail.
Exactly.
And I know it's uncomfortable. No one likes being in it. That stuff smacks up on your wrist. But, you know.
And that's
and why I got my dash cam. I'm like, look, don't hold court in the street. I'm like, okay, you put me in cuffs. You got me in this position.
Yes.
You can't do nothing. I'm untouchable.
Yep. And here's the thing, too, with this narrative, because you see the shit once on TV, or you see it once on a fucking video, or you see some body cam footage where it happens once, where it goes left and the officer just fucks it all up. I get it. But
Oscar
you're talking
Grant.
about, but you're talking about police officers across the fucking country that make tens of millions of stops every fucking year. And this one time, or in a year's time, 10 times where it went wrong, you compare that to the 20 million stops or interactions that the police officers have, and it pales in comparison. That odds of that happening to you, you might as well win the lottery. You have a better chance of winning the fucking lottery with 20 million to 1 odds of this happening to you. And it's really 20 million to 0.000001 odds of it happening to you. But because we see some shit on TV, we think, oh, I'm next. Man, it could happen to me too. Yeah, and you could win the fucking Powerball too, couldn't you? So what the fuck? Every time you don't play the Powerball, are you a dumbass? Nope. But it's a chance that you take. It goes wrong less than 100 times a year. I mean, less than 10 times a year across the fucking country, where an officer just did the wrong thing, flat out fucked it all up and killed an innocent person or shot an innocent person. You're talking a handful of times compared to 22 million stops or 22 million police interactions across the globe. I mean, across the country in the United States. So it's like we have such a different misconception of what's real and what's not, to where people take this shit and they just conflate it and make it seem like it's the worst thing ever. I'm afraid to be stopped by the police. I think it's gonna be my last time alive. Yeah, well, so with it, you got more chance of that nigga got more chance of getting shot and killed in that fucking gas station than he did by those police officers. And that's a fact.
And it's even worse because some people don't understand the difference between detainment and arrest. They just think that whenever the cuffs come out, that automatically mean you finna be in jail for the rest of life. It's like, no, dude, like some people, sometimes you got to understand, you got to be isolated for safety purposes. Well, why I got to put my hands behind my back? Why I got to, dude, just chill. Because you know what? And I know it's Mother's Day, but look, you couldn't do this with your mama at home.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly. Why you got to put the handcuffs on me? The same reason why you couldn't go and sit on the couch in your mama's living room, motherfucker. That's why.
Use that.
That's why. Same reason why you couldn't sit on the plastic furniture, the plastic covered furniture in your mama's white living room is the same reason why you got to put these fucking cuffs on, man. And that's the reality of this shit. It's like we blow shit out of proportion that we think, oh, that ain't right. I ain't taking that shit. I'm a man before anything. Yeah, well, tell your mama that. When she tell you don't walk across her white motherfucking carpet that she put in the living room. You ain't never said, mama, why the fuck you been white carpet in the living room, mama? Don't nobody, why the fuck you put white carpet in the living room and don't want nobody to step on it and the carpet is on the fucking floor? Mama, why you buy this expensive ass china, put it in the fucking cabinet, and we only use it on Thanksgiving and Christmas, if that? Mama, why you buy this all white furniture, put a bunch of plastic seat covers over it, and then we can't even sit on it with the plastic fucking seat covers? You don't answer a question that, and that's some stupid shit. Mama, why you buy these big fancy ass towels to put in the bathroom and I can't use the fancy fucking towels that's in the bathroom to dry my own hands? That's for guests. Hell, guests only come here once or twice a year. I use the decorative towels in my bathroom right now that my wife bought just because of that purpose. I see those fancy ass towels. She got fancy towels, then she got a fucking folded up a fancy way too. God damn it, I'm gonna use these motherfuckers because she gonna swap them out in a couple of years anyway. I'm using these shits. Plain and simple, because they towels and they work. I'm the king around this motherfucker. Let me wash my hands. I go right to that towel and I wipe my hands like, hell yeah, God damn it, ain't gonna be no guest using this for me.
And the thing is,
that's the kind of nigga I am.
And just if you're in this situation, you got to learn how to. I hate saying it, but you got to learn how to play a good victim.
Yes.
If you really feel like you're under duress, what do I do if I'm under duress? I'm not gonna keep agitating the person that's messing with me.
Yep.
And look, this is why I got a dash cam. I heavily suggest that people, understand the laws in the area, especially around dash cams and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Some of them get super fancy. I let my dash cam do all the fighting for me. Exactly. I know, look, especially if I get pulled over, I'm like, look, I understand what you got to do as an officer, and I've had 99.9% of the interactions I've had with officers have been nothing but great, and every time I get a chance to, I will shout them out. I had an officer a couple, 2 months ago. Went to my first convention, anime convention, because I'm a huge nerd.
Okay.
And there was some issue with the dude that was trying to let me through because I had like a VIP wristband or whatever. But he said you need the VIP wristband, then you got to have the necklace, and then you got to have the ticket in your hand, and you got to have the thing from like 5 months ago. I was like, dude, you've seen me here for like the past 2 or 3 days. Can you just like, dude, you've seen it. And I'm in costume with everything. And I'm like, you really finna act the idiot dressed as Goku? Don't do that. So the guy called his superior, and I was like, oh, come on, dude. Like, why you gotta be like this? And I was pissed. I was like, come on, dude. I'm like, I'm not finna do nothing crazy at this convention.
Yep.
And the dude saw me. He was like, yeah, just come to the front. I was like, sure, I'll come to the front. And I had my little saddlebag with everything. Pulled out my ID. He saw I was military. He was like, dude, I got you. He was like, thank you. He's like, dude, thank you for being a good sport. Thank you for not making my weekend worse by fighting, by fighting me, trying to shoot a Kamehameha wave at me. And he walked me through the event personally. And I took a picture with him and I, shouted him out and everything because the thing is, things like that happen way more often than with what's unfortunate, the Airman Forstons. God rest his soul. What happened with him was terrible, but let's take it in the totality of circumstance. Let's take it back to the day that George Floyd passed away.
Yeah.
On that day, there were so many calls from police officers, probably saving some kid from a burning building, probably saving some woman from getting her face beat in. Somebody probably caught an armed robber or a repeat or a serial rapist or whatever. But people don't publicize that.
Yeah.
So I do understand, and I think that's like, have you heard of this movie called Civil War? I know it's showing right now.
Yeah, I need to watch that. I haven't seen that yet, but I need to watch it.
Me personally, now I like a good action movie every now and again. I don't do horror, but me personally, I don't like movies like that. I don't like movies like Civil War. I don't like movies like The Purge because I think a lot of that stuff gets inside of people's heads, and they have that. Then they have that cycling. I ain't finna be the next George Floyd. It's like, dude, that was like several years ago in a completely different district, and all we're doing is just asking you to not do 70 and a 30, like the Corinne Gaines thing. Like, man, that did not have to happen.
Yes, and that's the part that we don't understand and we don't want to accept responsibility for. You want these officers to be perfect and to get it right every single time as an expectation. And that's okay if you have the same expectation for civilians. I want you to be a model citizen and a model civilian every single time, and we don't. We allow for every civilian to not understand, to not know, even when they have been repeatedly told ignorance of the law is not an excuse to break it. Ignorance is no excuse for the for disobeying or breaking the law. So it's like you have that expectation for them, but you want to give all these provisions for everybody else. And my thing is, why not just make sense of it all and call it fair down the middle? Because the thing about George Floyd, and I'll still say this, that officer fucked up. He should not have been on him once he put them cuffs on. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. He died from fentanyl. Yeah, well, that nigga that was sitting
Steven Crowder trying to reenact the whole thing while that's your buddy on your back and not some dude in full
exactly.
In full
That's like if I shoot you in the fucking lung, but I take my fingers and pinch your fucking nose, you may have died from a gunshot wound, but that nose pinch sure spared that shit along for you to check the fuck out. So I don't want to hear that shit. I hate when people try to, it was the fentanyl that killed him, man. Yeah, well, maybe he could have motherfucking been struggling to breathe a little while longer, and the paramedics could have got there and helped his ass along had he not wanted to sit there for 8 fucking minutes with his knees on his motherfucking torso, on his midsection, on his center mass, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Maybe that played a part. So fuck that.
Or
because
like
he had his ass cuffed. And everybody knows once the cuffs is on, fight is over, it's a done deal, man. Get off the motherfucker.
Or like the thing that happened with Tony Timpa, because the thing was, that was even worse because they were on him for like 15 minutes.
Yep.
And they listened to that man because Tony Timpa was a big dude too. They listened to him have labored breathing, then he started gurgling, and then he started doing that death rattle that people do when they can't breathe.
Yes,
and
sir.
they were just like, "Hey, you still here? Oh
shit,
yeah."
The dude who got shot in the hotel by the fucking with the AR and shit. He was doing what the fuck they told him to do, and this dude fucked up and shot him anyway. I get it, but when you take it back and say, well, you know what? We can debate that and we can talk about that part, and yes, even put that shared responsibility on it. But let's just say if George Floyd wasn't trying to pass a 20. Let's just say that.
Is it really worth it?
Let's just say if he was never trying to pass a fake 20, no police are called, and he would have went on about his life, about his day, doing his fentanyl, and maybe would have died in the car he was in 2 hours later, 20 minutes later. Maybe he would have went to a motel or some shit and died then, but it wouldn't have been during that police interaction. Anytime you have people that have this shit that go on, the Breonna Taylor. What if Breonna Taylor wasn't dating the fucking dope man? What if Breonna Taylor wasn't trying to motherfucking help her dope dealing boyfriend get rid of a fucking dead body in a car? What if she wasn't tied in with this motherfucker? What if she would have never shot at the police? Those are the questions that we don't want to ask and that we don't want to say and put that shared responsibility on to say, well, maybe if you wasn't breaking the fucking law in the first place, you wouldn't have had this interaction at all, and it wouldn't have went left because there wouldn't have been nothing to go left.
And even with the lieutenant,
you know,
I don't think he expected this to be a Fourth Amendment thing, but that was actually kind of ammunition in his vein that kind of helped him. Which, and I could understand why he made the lawsuit. For the civil suit. Now I think the civil suit, when they try to say like, oh, this goes to the pattern or the history of Virginia police with racially profiled people. I got my opinions on that, but he didn't do himself a favor in terms of the tactics.
Exactly.
And he was completely ignorant of the Fourth Amendment thing. He just happened to luck out in that situation.
Yep.
My only thing that I can relate to him is he may have started off trying to surrender and trying to make himself look like less of a threat, because let's be honest, the dude ain't John Wick. And same thing here. If I got a gun pointed at me, I'm like, look, hands here. I give up. Look.
Hit him with the jar jar.
Yeah, you got
hit him with the jar jar. You just like you said, hit him with the jar jar binks, man.
Yeah,
if you are really concerned and afraid for your life, if you really don't know what's going on and why you're being pulled over, if for some reason you're just terrified and you're just flat out scared as a black man, then be the most compliant motherfucker, because the odds of you getting shot and killed doing exactly what the police tell you, you have a better chance of hitting the fucking Powerball when it's $1 billion than you do getting shot or getting killed by listening to what the police say.
Look, and thankfully, Lavar Jones, the guy that the one time it did happen, because he did say, "Hey, let me see your license," and then he did that and got shot.
Yep.
Thankfully, the dude survived. So
yes,
that's a win there.
Yep.
Because the dude was just a bad shot. Or it could have been a situation like, I think you did this one a long time ago. Was it in South Carolina or was it Cleveland, where the man was like kneeling beside the door of the car? He had like 7 officers on him, and then one cop just like did like a blitz maneuver, and then shot him in the head as he was surrendering. It's like, okay,
yeah,
not saying it doesn't happen,
right?
But look, you can roll the dice.
They happen so far and few and in between. We can kind of like cite them and call them out.
Yeah, you can roll.
We can kind of like call them out, like the big dude, the big homie who had his hands up, standing next to the expedition, and the female officer literally just out of nowhere just shot him. He hands up doing it. He compliant 100%, hands up on the side of the expedition, waiting to be arrested. And this bitch who's standing off to the side with 2 other officers there, already ready to motherfucking lock him up, take him into custody. This bitch just pulls the trigger. Bang. I was scared. Bitch, you going to jail. That's exactly how quickly that shit should have happened.
She was in the rear. She was back up. So she shot the gap. She got herself all the way to the front, to the lead edge, and said,
you shouldn't have
even
had anything else to do with this interaction, because there's already 2 other guys getting ready to put the cuffs on this big 6'5" nigga. Why are you even here, even trying to intervene still? You should be good. But you just pulled the trigger because, hey, you scared. Yeah, well, you should go to jail.
But theoretically,
he
had gotten in custody beforehand.
Yes.
Because I don't understand how you get to the point where, now, granted, because I'm just me, I ain't that intimidating. But I don't understand how you get to the point where 6 officers are already on you. At that point, look, you outnumbered, man. Force ratio. Just
exactly. Look, let's go. I'm done.
I'm doing this, and people can say, "Oh, that makes you submissive. That makes you passive." Look,
whatever.
What's the phrase? I said this a long time ago. I said I'd rather be alive to talk about it afterwards than fight about it and then end up being a hashtagger. So I forget. I forget the rest was. And these things are very nuanced, and that's why I'm thankful for having this tactical discussion, but also the legal discussion, because this man ended up getting a bit of a payout. Now, I don't know about the status of his career. I don't know if he's still in the service. I hope he is. But even in this interaction, he had more of a chance to preserve himself. Honestly, some people think, I still think the officers were just a little bit gung-ho. Maybe should they have not drawn his weapon? Yeah, maybe not.
Ain't no way. I'm not. Ain't no way. Let me see what they say about his gun.
Oh, so this is the gun. I'm sorry, this is the gun. Yep. Mind you, the man is handcuffed and he back there now.
Yep.
We're on a firearm.
And that's the junior cop too. You were
Yep.
talking about field, so this is the younger.
Got the gun.
Officer
Unloaded.
Crocker enters Lieutenant Nazario's vehicle and searches for his firearm. After he locates the firearm and exits the vehicle, he radios the serial number to dispatch, and when dispatch confirms that the firearm is not stolen, he returns it to the vehicle. Although there are situations officers may conduct a warrantless search of a vehicle incident to the arrest of a recent occupant, as the Supreme Court outlined in the 2011 case of Davis versus United States, such a search is only constitutional, quote, if the arrestee is within reaching distance of the vehicle during the search, or if the police have reason to believe that the vehicle contains evidence relevant to the crime of arrest.
Oh, hold on. So let me just make sure if I can see where this gun was.
It was in the
Was it in the door?
It was in the door. Yep.
Oh shit. Then that's accessible.
How do you say your last name?
But at this point, he was already arrested and out of the vehicle. So at this point, with the cuffs behind him,
so they're saying because he's out.
Yeah. This is happening simultaneously to him talking to Officer Gutierrez.
My medics are still here. You still need my medics?
Yes, I want to stay here.
We'll stand by, man. Okay. Stay here as long as you need us.
We'd be done by now.
Guns,
It's a simple traffic.
are drawn.
It's a simple traffic violation. Driving all the way down here. First of all, you passed a well-lit parking lot there, but okay. You felt more comfortable here, okay? Coming here was not the problem. The problem is when you refuse to get out of the car. When we got here and you stepped out of the car, I can promise you, this would have been over by now.
Okay, well, specifically, he was asking about weapons. What kind of weapons you got here?
It's right there. I'm sure he's sorry already. Right
No, I mean, you just got a handgun or you got a long gun?
A handgun.
I got it.
Like, see?
Run a firearm.
He locates the firearm and exits the vehicle. He radios the serial number to dispatch, and when dispatch...
Oh, wait, that's not what to hear.
Officer Crocker enters Lieutenant Nazario's vehicle and searches for his firearm. After he locates the firearm and exits the vehicle, he radios the serial number to dispatch, and when dispatch confirms that the firearm is not stolen, he returns it to the vehicle. Although there are situations officers may conduct a warrantless search of a vehicle incident to the arrest of a recent occupant, as the Supreme Court outlined in the 2011 case of Davis versus United States, such a search is only constitutional, quote, if the arrestee is within reaching distance of the vehicle during the search, or if the police have reason to believe that the vehicle contains evidence relevant to the crime of arrest. Likewise, under the so-called automobile exception to the warrant requirement, which was established by the Supreme Court in the 1925 case of Carroll versus United States, officers may search a vehicle without a warrant if they have probable cause to believe it contains contraband or evidence of criminal activity. And under the so-called plain view doctrine, which the Fourth Circuit outlined in the 2012 case of U.S. versus Davis, officers may seize an object without a warrant if, quote, the officer was lawfully in a place from which the object could be viewed, the officer had a lawful right of access to the seized items, and the incriminating character of the items was immediately apparent. In his lawsuit, Lieutenant Nazario argued that Officer Crocker's entrance into his vehicle to search for the firearm and his examination of the firearm for its serial number both constituted illegal searches. Judge Young determined that the search of the vehicle was not justified as a search incident to arrest because nothing in the vehicle was in Lieutenant Nazario's quote-unquote reaching distance, as he, now quoting, was handcuffed, surrounded by a police officer and two medics, and his arm was being held by Defendant Gutierrez throughout the search. And because, now quoting again, the firearm was not relevant evidence for the crimes of eluding or obstruction of justice, which were the crimes of arrest. Likewise, Judge Young concluded that the automobile exception and the plain view doctrine did not apply because all the facts apparent to the officers at the time would have pointed to Lieutenant Nazario's possession of the firearm being lawful, as Officer Crocker knew that Lieutenant Nazario had a concealed carry permit. Accordingly, Judge Young ruled that the search of the vehicle was unlawful and granted summary judgment to Lieutenant Nazario as to his claim that Officer Crocker violated his Fourth Amendment right through an illegal search. However, Judge Young also determined that, quote, the separate act of calling in the serial number was not an unlawful unlawful search because Lieutenant Nazario, now quoting, did not have a privacy interest in the serial number. Now, in reaching this conclusion, Judge Young relied on the 1992 case of U.S. versus Kinney, where the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals noted that, quote, the only fact that officers could determine from the serial numbers was whether the guns were contraband, which, now quoting again, cannot be the source of a privacy expectation that our society is prepared to consider reasonable.
All right, and I have no chest pain, a shorter breath.
I got you. So yeah, I get it, because I can even tell you the times that I've been pulled over and I've had my gun on me, not and as a civilian, a officer has never ran my serial numbers. If they have asked, and even in when I was in Michigan, it shows up if you have a concealed carry license, and if you do, then that gun that you have, then that's already yours, and yeah, you can have it. So I get it. And if they didn't tow that vehicle, then there would be no reason to even search that vehicle for that gun, to pull that gun, if he already knows he has a concealed carry, and if you've been able to identify that this guy is active military. So I get that. They're right.
And I think that may have been what contributed to them getting fired, which,
and
you know, when you get in a case about someone's Fourth Amendment right, whether or not they're active military or not, that's gonna get you.
But I don't think you should be fired for that. Could he have been suspended? Yes. Suspension without pay, I guess. That's what you want to do. Fine. Fired, losing your pension and all that shit.
I don't necessarily
Hell
do that.
No. Yeah.
Especially because nobody died. Everybody kind of went home.
Yep.
Maybe not totally happy, but everybody got to go home. They were able to clean this up a little bit. So I don't necessarily agree that he should have gotten fired for that. Now, I think it later said something about this was against department policy. But again, all of this was initiated because the body cam footage went viral and because he initiated a lawsuit. So I can understand why someone feels as if that's a bit retaliatory.
Yeah.
Another question behind that, though, is hypothetically, let's just say, no shot at Lieutenant Nazario, but let's just say hypothetically they did run the serial number and it was a contraband gun and they decided to charge him. Would that not be considered a fruit of the poisonous tree exception?
They would have had to throw it out. Yep.
Because so
they would have had to throw it out.
They would have had to throw it out. And I kind of think they were trying to do it because they were still pissed at him for not getting out the car.
Yes.
And that's why that might have been overzealous.
Right. Yeah, and that's why I said what I would have done is because his ass was gonna get out. Fuck that. You sent through all that shit. And I'm thinking you're a bad guy. Yeah, I would have got his ass out, but I would have went the full Monty and I would have fucking inventoried his car. And the fact that I know who he was and all that shit, it wouldn't have mattered. Because once I found out that he was active military, I wouldn't have gave a shit about the gun. Once I found out that he has his concealed carry license, I wouldn't have gave a shit about the gun. I just wouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, and then I see the gun, because I definitely would have looked. I wouldn't have ran the fucking serial. I would have definitely looked and saw, oh yeah, this is a pretty much standard issue Glock. This ain't no
like a Glock
no hood shit. It ain't got no 50 round mag in it. It ain't got no rubber bands around it. The serial numbers ain't filed off or no shit like that or whatever. The gun is stock and standard issue like a motherfucker. That's his gun. He bought it from a store. The odds of a active military concealed carrying permit officer carrying a fucking illegal gun, them lottery numbers
with desert camo and everything, especially
exactly
because he's about to get them, because he said I'm leaving tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like I wouldn't have thought that gun was bogus. Ain't no way. And it's like most of the time when it's a lot of other indicators to know when you got a bogus gun. Being active military is definitely not one of those indicators. So it's like, yeah, I would have found out who the fuck he was. And once he said he is who he says he is, I wouldn't have tripped on the gun. I just wouldn't have, especially seeing that gun, what kind it was and what it was. Yeah, I would have been like, no. If that would have been a money print fucking what's the name of that gun I fucking hate? God damn, that cheap ass gun. Somebody gonna put it in the chat. That old cheap ass gun.
Don't you say no SIG.
Oh, hell no. See, it's top shelf. That gun is wrapped up in the $100, got the $100 print on it. It's like a money print. That fucking bullshit.
You're playing too much CSGO. No, I'm joking.
Somebody go put it in the chat and let me know what it is. But if it's not one of those, because if I saw a law enforcement officer or somebody in the military with one of those guns, I'd be like, man, what the fuck are you doing with this? And I'd have said, a high point. Thank you, Will.
High point,
that
okay.
motherfucker would have had a C note printed high point. Then yes, I'm running that motherfucking gun because that ain't what we carry. So fuck that.
Hey,
So
look, he may have
aside
just
from
been
that,
doing
I'm
his
letting
little
that shit
Fortnite
go.
skin. I'm just saying.
All right, he got a Fortnite skin on it. Let's see what else
Yes,
he
sir.
said.
Yeah,
after
my
this.
partner's checking on it.
You alright if I pop the trunk?
And then comes the dog.
Hey, pup.
Lieutenant, what happened? Why wouldn't you comply?
I looked out the mirror and I saw guns drawn. I put my hands out.
And we told you, we identified ourselves, we told you to step out of the vehicle. And all you had to do was comply. And we'd have been done by now, okay?
Yep.
Alright, Mr. Nazario.
And just looking out the mirror and seeing your guns out already. That's what I was asking. Like, what's going on? I was just.
And this was my thing. Dude, don't act like you ain't never seen no fucking gun before.
I
Don't
mean, the
act
man
like
ain't
you
John
never-
Wick.
Yeah, I get it. But you can't be active military. And I would have loved to know what he does in the military.
He's a medic.
So there you don't act like you ain't seen no guns, bro. Guns should not make you nervous like that, and you're in the military. I'm sorry, unless you a fucking secretary or some shit like that. And even then, everybody goes through that motherfucking firearms training, and you shoot literally tens of thousands of rounds. Don't act like you afraid of a fucking gun, bro. You can't be, and you got one with you. I ain't trying to hear it. I'm not trying to hear that.
I'll push a little bit. I'll push a little bit. I'll challenge you just a little bit. Because
do guns make you nervous?
No. Let me not pull my stuff out. No, I'm joking. No, it's not. It's not that the guns make him nervous. My thing is, if a gun is pointed at you, I'm going like a deer. Like, I ain't John Wick. I ain't trying to play. This ain't a movie. I'm not finna do like Denzel and just snatch the gun out you. Like, I ain't finna do that. Especially, and the thing is, because it's also. That's why I asked about the felony stop. If it's over a minor traffic violation, like let's say he was speeding or whatever, would a reasonable person, this is actually a question I was going to ask, would a reasonable person expect that, okay, let's say I was doing 50 in a 35, fine. Would a reasonable person expect that once I get pulled over, especially if I've tried to make the attempt to pull over in a gas station to show that I'm not a threat, that I'm going to be met with guns pointed at me and then also being told simultaneously, keep your hands out the vehicle, but get out the car, especially in the context of the video where I showed you earlier, where the man did exactly what the officer did and got shot anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I can sort of understand why the lieutenant was trying to de-escalate and say, look, sir, my hands are here. Can you at least explain to me why you got your guns drawn at me? I don't mind doing X, Y, Z for you. Can you just not point a gun at me because I have not made any threatening manner to you? Even when I had the incident with the officer never had to pull his gun. He was pissed.
But that's why I disagree.
Mm-hmm.
You are escalating, not necessarily making a threatening manner, but you're escalating when you don't automatically pull over, because most law-abiding citizens pull over. And like he said earlier, you wanted to pull into a well-lit area, cool. You drove past one that was a well-lit parking lot and you kept going and you came here. I'm still fine with that. But just because you do that, don't mean that you are not a potential threat. And I'm not going to take a chance hoping you're a good guy when I have a tactic that I can use to make sure that you're one. Plain and simple. You want to push it. If I'm somewhere and I could have that same feeling, man, I could be driving in some hick town, right? I'm driving in a hick town, some fucking bullshit as a small town, 3 cars, police department, sheriff is pulling me over. I'm down in, what is that town that Tommy was talking about? Cunny, Texas, right?
I thought you were
I'm
going to say
down in
Chattanooga,
Cunny,
Tennessee.
Texas. Never heard of it. One goddamn police car, one officer, whatever the case may be. If I'm getting pulled over late at night and I decide I'm going to go and pull up in the fucking QT that's 2 miles up the road, 3 miles up the road.
The last Kmart in existence. No, I'm joking.
Right. I'm at pulling up at the last Kmart, but it's 24 hours, so it's lit up. I'm going to expect guns drawn, and I'm going to expect a heightened sense of alertness and aggressiveness because I didn't instantly comply. I'm going to expect that. And I'm now thinking, all right, let me stick my hand straight out. Let me go ahead and make sure that I'm good, because I don't want this motherfucker thinking that, hey, I'm dealing with some motherfucking asshole bad guy. I'm gonna explain to him when I get the opportunity, but right now, I'm doing what the fuck he says. Plain and simple. It's like, dude, I remember one time I got pulled over. I'm in a 19, what was that car? Like
Don't
a
you say no box Chevy.
1989. I had one of them too, and I carried myself and adjusted myself accordingly when driving. But I was in a 1989 Mercury Topaz, I believe it was.
Oh Lord.
Or a 1990 Mercury Topaz. My mama's car. But
I wasn't even born yet, just to make you feel older.
That's fine. It's a good time though. But look, it's literally 5 of us in a fucking, we some big ass fat niggas. It's 5 of us in a fucking little ass Mercury Topaz, right? Here's the thing. I'm in a predominantly white neighborhood. I'm in Evergreen Park back in the fucking 90s, right? Evergreen Park didn't pull us over. Unmarked CPD detectives pulled us over, right?
Uh-oh.
It's a Friday evening and we riding. We got music playing. We listening to music, rap music and all that shit. I don't know what the fuck we listen to, probably some NWA or some shit. Fine. Pull us over. They immediately got us all out the car. One of them had their hand on their gun, directing us all out. We all get out. They then take us and they cuff us all together. So we in the chain game, right? They got us handcuffed together. Guys was like, hey, we saw that the car was riding. This is what he said. We saw that the car was riding low and it seemed to look a little funny. We just want to check y'all out. And if y'all good, we ain't got no problems, right? I'm like this. I'm already know how to deal with the police, talk with the police. No problem, officer. Do whatever you need to do. They go look through the car, right? We standing there just waiting. Officer comes back. He holding a fucking revolver like this. He says, okay, fellas, whose gun is this? One of my partners said, Officer, that got to be yours because it ain't none of ours. And we all laughed, right? We all laughed. And it was his.
You see the movie Taxi? With Jimmy Fallon and Queen Latifah?
Oh, yeah.
I had to do a combat roll and pull this thing out my ankle holster.
So we
got
all
one of them guns they use in the 1960s.
Yeah, so it's like we go through that, we all laugh or whatever, and it's ha. And they're like, hey man, go ahead, go. I said, man, we wouldn't do that, we wouldn't ride like that, whatever, you know. I didn't even have to tell them who my father was.
Oh.
I didn't even have to go through none of that shit, but we handled ourselves that way. I say that to say this. Even though that was a bogus ass stop, they literally pulled me over because it was 5 black niggas in a car playing some music, some rap music, and we riding towards the suburbs, and they wanted to fuck with us. Why? Because they shook the dice on the profile. These niggas probably got something. They did that. However, we complied, all good. Now, if I really felt offended, if my feelings was hurt, if I felt like my rights were violated, I could have took my ass to the police station, filed a report. I could have got a lawyer. I could have fucking filed a complaint. I could have sued the department if I wanted to. However, I just simply complied, and not me, but all 5 of us walked away. That's it.
It would have
Cops
been
was assholes, pulled us over on a bogus stop. It was bullshit to the max, but hey, I'm not a bad guy. So I don't really give a shit. You didn't rough me up. You didn't smack me up. You didn't do anything but cuff me up. But you didn't do anything to hurt any of us. So I get it. Because for every one of me you pull over, the other 9, at least motherfucking 6 of them are on some bullshit. So I get it. I get it. And the car had tint on the windows too. It wasn't a limo tint. It was legal tint, but it was still tint nonetheless. But I get it. It's just one of those things where it's like, hey, they played the odds. And at the very least, If we was riding dirty and it turned out to be an unlawful stop or whatever the case may be, they would have got a gun or got some drugs off the street, even though the case would have got thrown out. That's what police officers, some of the things they get graded on. Hey, man, we had 2 guns in the car. It was a bogus stop. They threw the case out, but we got the guns. Still good work, right? But that's just how that goes.
Totality of the circumstances.
There you go.
People will get lasered in and just think, I'm gonna make this my last stand because I'm pissed off that you got my gun or whatever.
Yep.
It ain't worth it at the end of the day.
Yep, exactly.
And that's not to say that bad things don't. I'm not trying to. I don't know why I gotta do that. But it's not to say that bad things don't happen and that things don't go, unfortunately. But you got to comport yourself a little bit.
Yes, the reality of it is bad things do happen. Let's tell the truth and call a thing a thing. Bad things do happen. However, bad things don't happen as often as we fucking think just because of what we see in the media. What you see on the news don't happen every goddamn day, where an innocent good guy just gets pulled over and abused and killed and shot up by the police. That's just what that is. And it's like, and let me shout out to my man UFO Kamikaze. It's like he said, active military members commit crimes too. You're getting treated like anyone else under those circumstances, regardless.
That's
exactly.
True. I mean,
exactly.
We know. Ever get into a fight outside the doors?
There you go.
Or somebody get a DUI, or you and your boys been out drinking, and you see some dudes you don't like, and it's like, hey, it's here.
Shit going down.
You know, it happens. It still happens sometimes, unfortunately. I could.
And he also said give 0 fucks about your military status once you resist exiting your vehicle when ordered to. I have no choice. I have no choice. Why would you? And that's my thing, man. I would be thinking this motherfucker really ain't military. Why? Because military knows how to obey orders. They know how to obey the commands that they're given, more so than anyone else, more so than your average citizen, more so than your average compliant citizen. If anybody gonna follow a directive, these motherfuckers will.
Look,
this is what
nowadays
they do.
When one, because they say, nowadays it's not a one mistake Air Force, it's a one crime Air Force. So it's like nowadays, some people could get like a DUI or 2 or Article 15. You hear the horror stories or the war stories about how things used to be 10, 20, 30 years ago.
Yep.
And some things within my own personal experience, not going to get too deep. There is a lot less tolerance for certain behaviors like that. We can get into opinions.
And it's
on
like
it. But nowadays,
UFO knocking them out the park. He comes right back and says, we've had countless active military personnel who've deleted their wives. Yep. Your military status means nothing when a suspicion of a crime has been established. Absolutely. He also says we've also had a ton of stolen valor clowns pretending to be active military. You're getting treated like, and that's like I said in the beginning. I said the same thing. I'm going to treat you like the worst motherfucker to walk the planet until you show me different. And not listening to the commands I give you is not showing me anything different. You just like the fucking crackhead. You just like the fucking gangbanger. You just like the fucking thugged out nigga that ain't doing what the fuck I'm asking him to do while I'm giving you lawful commands. You're just like that person when you don't obey my commands. The quicker you obey my commands and comply, the quicker we get through this interaction and the quicker everyone goes home safely.
Here's another one that a lot of people don't always remember. Jeffrey Dahmer. Dahmer was Army.
There you go.
A lot of stuff that Dahmer did before he became, what he did. There was a report talking about that he was doing stuff to his roommate while he was active. Before the whole thing with he was, chewing people up. That's not funny.
Yeah, I'm just, but it's like but it's like this.
Look, go to plow. You see folks on jacket.
Yeah. What an officer risk when they don't want to be the bad guy, when they don't want to be the aggressive guy, when they don't want to be the I'm gonna tell you once, I'm gonna ask you once, and then I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna ask you, then I'm gonna make you. When they don't want to be that guy, those are the times when they wind up getting shot. But those are the times when they wind up not getting to go home. And you tell me what police officer that's actually serving every day, putting their life on the line, don't get to deserve to go home. You can't name them. So that's my point. It's like you have to realize, hey man, I want to go home. And it's like my thing was, it ain't that I want to go home, motherfucker. I'm gonna
making
go
it home. I'm making it.
I'm gonna. At the end of the day, I'm gonna go home tonight. I'm gonna go home today, and I'm not gonna let some asshole or some bitch that don't know what the fuck she talking about, or some motherfucker trying to tell me how to do my job. Motherfucker, you ain't gonna never put me in a situation where I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do what's best for me, my partner, and any other citizen that may be around, because I want to make you feel better. Fuck that.
You seen Lone Survivor? What did Mark Wahlberg do when them people he pulled that grenade? He said, "If I don't go home, you don't go home.
Go home." That's it.
And that's
it, man. It's just that
we could go
you have to
down
have
that
mentality.
watering hole later.
Yeah,
about
you gotta have that mentality though, because when you don't, you won't go home, and it will be that day where it goes. The worst thing happens, and now your kids don't grow up with their daddy. Your wife don't get to live with her husband, and so on and so forth. But the point is, I'm dealing with a bad guy, and because I have to deal with bad guys, I gotta be the guy that's a step above. I gotta be the guy that makes the bad guy feel comfortable. No fucking way. Let me be the motherfucking guy that finds out if you're a bad guy or a good guy, and then I will adjust. Until then, you're not just the bad guy, you're the fucking worst guy ever to walk the planet. And I'm treating you as such until you prove me different. Did you have anything else on this video that you wanted to point out?
No, as far as the video goes, I think we hit the tactics and we hit the Fourth Amendment stuff, which is really the key aspect of the video. But this is really what the point of it is because, from one man, of your age and status to a man that's in my age and status, going through the world now, I think the result of this should be, if I'm in this situation, after I have this conversation with you, do I have any more insight to increase the probability of making sure that I go home and that I don't have any issues with my liberties? That's really what it comes to at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I think this is a productive discussion in that realm. And I do this with you. By chance, have you heard of a gentleman by the name of Dominic Izzo?
I have not.
Nah, so he was former Chicago PD. He did. I found him out through like videos of like Wing Chun and stuff. I watch my little on it. But he talks about a lot of this stuff too. He talks about policing, police tactics. And I try not to go into the racial aspect, but I mean, obviously you see what I am. But he's made a lot of commentary on it. Listen to Audit the Audit for the legal stuff, active self-protection for the two-way stuff. So I surround myself and I tailor my content or the content that I watch to this stuff. This is the type of stuff that I do while I'm playing Tekken for 4 hours and lose at the doggone tournament. But that was really the key of what I wanted to have the conversation with you about. And it's getting kind of late, but I did want to talk about, this is another disagreement that I had with the whole red pill, fresh and fit versus Abba Priest thing, but that's gossip.
Oh, we could do that. Yeah, we could. Hey, man, we can always do another show. Yeah, shit.
Yeah,
we can do another show. Let's just figure it out.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious about what you think, because the way I see it, because I've watched a lot of their stuff too, both Abba Priest and the fresh and fit thing. My thing was, I thought it was dishonorable for, was it Fresh or whatever, to talk about that man's wife. I thought that was out of line. And I don't know if you were privy to that. And I thought it was out of line for them to now try to do the whole thing where this woman is claiming that she has his child or whatever. I thought that was out of line, but that's just gossip stuff. I mean,
kind of man, I mean, we could talk about, if you want to, what you could do if you want to put it together, and like I said, we're going to have a conversation. I mean, because I have mixed feelings about Fresh and Fit. Definitely same thing about Abba and Preach too. So I think we could have a conversation about it, but let's put it together and let's talk and see what we can come up with, man. And we can do that. That's no problem.
Sure. I'll send you the videos, because I saw the thing from beginning to end. And my thing was, the same way I talk about, get serious for a second, but the same way I talk about like the Purge and the Civil War and stuff like that. I'm slowly weeding myself off of that type of stuff, because I think it really is just modern day Jerry Springer. It's just modern day trash TV. And the more you watch stuff like that, like if you watch that stuff for hours on end, it'll make you more cynical. So I've kind of tried to parse myself out from that, especially now that Tekken is a thing. That's all I've been dealing with.
Yeah.
I ain't been dealing with Keyblades. I've been dealing with Stellar Blade lately. I've been going crazy on Twitter, telling them to fix this game. But but just because it was a point of disagreement, because I just thought it wasn't cool that's what was going on. But if you want to have a second conversation, I'm pretty free, mostly like on Sundays.
Yeah.
The month of May is the month of boxing for me.
Yeah, just do this. Let's just put it together. And like you sent it to me before, let's send me what you want to talk about, and we'll figure out if it's a good angle to have a conversation about, then we'll just do it. That's fine, man. I'm always up for that. So that'd be good. I do have one thing I do want you to explain to me or break down for me. You gotta break down your name. Kazama's Keyblade. Explain to me what that is or what that means so that I'll know.
So Kazama's Keyblade, that's my gamer tag. If you find me on any of my gamer so I'm not too much of a gamer. I mostly play 2 video games, and that's actually the thing. Kazama comes from Jin Kazama, who is the main character of Tekken, and I've been a Tekken fan since Tekken 3.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, hold on. Do I have it? Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. Stop this. Hold on. So that's shout out to one of my buddies that made this. And Keyblade comes from Kingdom Hearts, which is my other favorite series. Keyblade is like the weapons that they use. And what I did was I had one of my buddies, she's a really talented artist. I had her take some of the symbols and the designs and make a Keyblade is what it sounds like. It's a blade that's in the shape of a key. And I had her do take some of the symbols that come from Tekken and turn it into a Keyblade.
Keyblade. Okay.
So that's where the term Kazama's Keyblade comes from. I go by KJ. This is just my gamer tag. This is just what I do when I'm trolling and memeing on Twitter.
That makes sense. Yeah, no. That makes sense. That's why I just wanted I knew that you were that. I'm like, yeah, this dude's smart. So there's a method to his madness. He just ain't gonna make some shit up.
Hold on, here it is. Let me see.
Now I got the understanding of it.
Did you see this? Hold on. Is it back here?
Yeah, I can see it. Yep.
Yeah, hold on. So I had somebody do this for me. So this is all the characters I played in Tekken 7. So Kazama's Keyblade, that's like my gamer tag or whatever. And I call them like the heavy metal harlot. So I had like Armor King, Oscar, Devil Jin. That's just my gaming thing that I do just in my spare time. If I'm not talking about boxing or if I'm not talking about police tactics, I'm usually on PSN asking Harada to fix Tekken 8 because my God.
All right, for sure.
Amazing.
Well, man, I would say we can wrap this up, man. I definitely appreciate the time, man. I appreciate your patience most of all. I'm glad we did this, man. This was a great show. I really appreciate you, just like I said, rolling with the punches with this, man, and us finally able to get to come together to do this. I will leave a final thought to you, and we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, I do a little bit of boxing on the side. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me see if I can. Hold on. I got it here. Let me see. Wait a minute. There we go. Yeah. My boxing certificate. See if I can pull it up.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, boy, that was my thing. That's why the month of May is the month of boxing for me.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of fighting when I was in when I was at the academy.
Okay.
Fought for a couple of years. Now that's my whole personality. But between talking about law and policing and tactics and stuff like that, whenever I'm not, doing air patrol, I'm a 13 Bravo air battle manager. So I'm basically a combat air traffic controller. That's the best way I can explain it.
Damn, that's dope.
So I don't do a whole lot of tactical on the ground stuff. Now I did a little bit of, military operations or urban terrain. They do, basic CADM stuff. Not necessarily to the degree that people that do law enforcement tactics are, but because it's a hot topic and because this is what we see, that's what I do.
Yeah. And so you say air traffic control, that means you're in the tower.
No. So now I'm basically doing PA. So I'm an air battle manager. I'm basically on the E3 AWACS. That's like a Boeing aircraft with a big radar on his back. I am essentially air crew with myself and like 20 to 30 other, lieutenants and captains and majors and even the enlisted personnel. The best way I can explain it is
you actually in the big ass plane that's flying around and doing. Oh, that's dope as shit.
Yeah, so that's
Wow.
and look, I wanted to do something policing. I wanted to do 13
Yeah.
not 13 Bravo, 31 Papa. That's what I wanted to do. But
That's some
since
cool
that's
shit there, though.
that's how I got in. They said that we're not in the business of making doctors and lawyers. I'm actually legal studies was my major, minor
Yeah.
with a minor in philosophy. So that's like what I tailor my mind to. But in terms of my
Yeah.
service, it's in being on that AWACS.
Oh yeah, that's dope,
So,
man. That's
but
dope
this
as
is
hell.
just
So,
a
so
hobby
like
of
when
mine.
people, what is the new? I fucking love the fucking AC 130, but what's the name of the new one?
The new AWACS.
No, so you know the AC 130 is right, big plane with
Yeah,
the 105
the
shells and all
gunship.
that. What is the gunship? What is the name of the new one that they have out? Because I don't think that's the main one anymore, or is it?
That I'm not sure.
Sure, okay, yeah.
I mostly do with sensors and my favorite thing is like fighter control. That's my personal favorite.
Oh, okay.
So like for example, I called it. So I'll do an example. What's I'm trying to make my call sign because I have a call sign, but I'm not going to use that one.
Yeah.
But like
Maverick,
let's say you're a we're in airspace in some part of the U.S. and you're doing a training mission or a combat mission or whatnot.
Mhm.
You know, my job is to basically say, hey, do you have the weapons, fuel, and everything that you need to conduct this mission? You know, yes, sir. So let's say your call sign is
Sundown.
And mine would be, let's say Keyblade. All right, let's say Keyblade.
Right.
You know, Sundown 1 status or Sundown 1 status. You know, Keyblade 1 would be, or Keyblade would be, you know, you are at this bearing, this altitude, this range. Are you ready to take the mission? And my favorite thing, actually, I don't. It's in the other room. But what I did when I went to my convention, I had them write down or autograph it, fights on. So what happens is if you're like a fighter aircraft and you are saying, hey, we're in the domain, we're about to take this fight, you know, you say, good morning, aviators, click, fights on. And that's the time to say, okay, I'm about to put missiles out here.
Yeah, damn.
When we say fights on, like the entire crew, you know, we make the call and, you know, say fights on. Everybody shouts and whoops and hollers and whatever, you know, fights on. That's because that's part of what we do. So we essentially do things to, you know, put you in the right place to do your mission. And God forbid, if you get hit with a surface to air missile or you take a missile to the face or you got to eject, we're also primarily the on-scene commander to make sure that we can get an asset to get over there and bring you home.
Damn.
On top of
shit,
you know some other cool stuff. But
that's
awesome. What I'm doing here.
Dude, we'll put it in the chat. It's the C-130, the Hercules. That's what it is. They're not the AC-130, but a Hercules. Yeah, but dude, that is some dope ass shit, man. That's what's up. Yeah,
so that's
man.
what I'm doing.
I appreciate you, man. This is like I said, a great show. I'm glad we were able to get it done, man. And man, brother, thank you for your service. And man, most importantly, thank you for your support, man. You've been around and been supporting me and watching me for a long time, bro. And I really do appreciate it, man. I cannot stress you enough how much I appreciate you, man. And thank you for getting this together, man, and us doing this. And hey, let's get that stuff together, man, and let's do it again.
Yes, sir. Fights on. And just before I go out, none of this has been supported by the DOD. I'd have had to bridle my tongue. I'm trying to be professional. I'd have had to bridle my tongue like I'm in court.
Right.
This is just one man's personal opinion.
Yes, indeed.
Looking forward to hopefully
you,
maybe like a Roger Fulston one because that was really sad, you know.
I got him. I got his stuff actually queued up. I got all those videos for him. I'm probably gonna do him tomorrow. Because that's just one of those
biggest
things,
thing was just the fact that he answered not just with his gun, even in Florida, but with his gun out. And
I'm gonna do it. And then like I said, we can definitely get the other chop it up after that. But yeah, I'm gonna do it probably tomorrow. Get that one out the way. I got a couple of them I gotta do, but yeah, man, bro, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man. Around. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Till next time, my brother. You have a good night, man.
Have a good one.
All right. All right, everybody. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys so much. I hope that this video helps somebody become a better version of themselves. Please, please, please hit the like, comment, share, and definitely give me your thoughts on it. I want to give a shout out to everybody that took their time to take a moment to watch tonight. Shout out to my man Will. Shout out to UFO Kamikaze. Shout out to everybody else that watched the show. Shout out to everybody over on Rumble. And I'm going to check the Twitter thing too. I think that's still going. Thank you guys so much. What is that? Sharp D Graphics. I saw you over there in the chat too. You guys have a good night. Till next time. Peace. And I'm out.